out, Yi Xian held Wang Xinyao's hand and finally breathed a sigh of relief. His ears finally quieted down. This made both of them sigh. It was good to have a few little girls around, but if they started to make trouble, no one could stand it. These girls, they are so young, how come they are so conceited? Wang Xinyo rubbed her temples in distress. Thinking back to the scene just now, she felt like getting angry and laughing at the same time. Xinyo, do you think they follow you or me? Yi Xian next to her also looked at Wang Xinyo with a wicked smile. Wang Xinyo didn't react for a moment and thought about it for a while. But the more he thought about it, the more something seemed wrong. He suddenly looked up at Yi Xian, only to see that he was covering his mouth and laughing. Hubby! You are such a bad guy. Anyway, this is not up to me. Wang Xinyo was also very angry, but even though she said that, her face turned red. There's no way, Yi Jing and the other girls, no matter what else they say, just this one point, is exactly the same as when she was a child. There is nothing I can do. Who says I am their mother? Okay Xinyo, I was just kidding, let's go out for a walk. But these girls? It's okay. Long Ling is watching over them. Let's go out and enjoy some time alone. Yi Xian said with a smile, then took Wang Xinyao's arm and pulled her forward. Okay, husband, this was also Long Ling's idea, so let her handle it herself. Wang Xinyo had no objection when she heard this, and she walked with Yi Xian at ease. Walking in the luxurious hotel, Yi Xian looked around and suddenly remembered something. He said to Wang Xinyo beside him with a sly smile. By the way, Xinyo, this hotel is so big, aren't there still a lot of empty rooms? Why don't we take this opportunity to get another one? However, these words whispered in her ear made Wang Xinyao's body feel like she was electrocuted. Her shy face seemed to be soaked with water, and her face turned red from her cheeks to her ears. Hubby, I'm pregnant now. Well, then we can just go shopping. There's no need to book another room. After all, we don't advocate wasting public resources. Yi Xian was happy in his heart, thinking that this was just a joke, so he continued to walk forward with Wang Xinyo, ready to take a good look at the scenery of Maldives. After all, this is also a honeymoon destination, and he hasn't taken Wang Xinyo to have a good look around alone yet. Here, Yi Xian and Wang Xinyo were still strolling leisurely, but Long Ling in the room was suffering. Chapter 467, with ease. Since I just played a joke on the little ones, who knew they took it so seriously? Now that the master and his wife had gone out, they could only surround me and ask me questions in a serious manner. Sister Long Ling, you've made us unhappy. You have to think of a solution for us. Yeah. Otherwise we wouldn't dare go out, we would all become darker and fatter. Why don't we let Sister Long Ling weigh herself too? I think she eats more than us. Forehead. Listening to the little guy's incessant chatter and the words of their aunt lingering in her ears, Long Ling smiled bitterly, feeling almost regretful to death. Why can't I say something else? Why do I have to say this? Isn't this asking for trouble? Now that Master and Master's wife are not here, how can I deal with these little guys? Thinking of this, Long Ling wanted to slap himself in the face. Why couldn't he control himself from talking nonsense all the time? Finally, under Long Ling's torment, night gradually fell, and after her dry-mouthed comfort, the little guys became a little quieter than before. Yi Xian and Wang Xinyo, who had been strolling outside for a while, also came back at this time, and Long Ling ran to them quickly as if she had seen a savior. Master and Madam, I know I was wrong. These little girls are really good at torturing people. If you weren't here just now, I wouldn't know, but I'm almost going crazy. At this moment, Long Ling was almost crying, which made Yi Xian and Wang Xinyo laugh out loud. Ah, Long Ling, this is all your own trouble. Look, we are of no use to you. Yi Xian shook his head helplessly. At this time, the little guys next to him saw Yi Xian and the others coming back, and they all hurried over. Mom and Dad, you're finally back. We've been looking for you so hard. Dad, please take us to the gym. We are really getting fat now. Please, Daddy, if we keep getting fat like this we'll turn into little meatballs. Yi Xian almost fainted after hearing this. It should only weigh 1 or 2 kilograms at most. It shouldn't be like this, right? It seems that the degree to which these little guys are vain is far beyond my imagination. Ahem, since you guys are so proactive, Daddy promises you that we'll set off right away. After coughing twice unconsciously, Yi Xian had no choice but to nod in agreement. Then he packed up and took everyone to the gym in the hotel. This is worthy of being the most expensive and luxurious hotel in the entire Maldives, and the gym it has is also quite large. The professionalism and comprehensiveness of the equipment inside are even not inferior to those of some large chain gyms. After walking in here, the little guys couldn't help but clench their fists, and suddenly they felt full of energy. At this moment, they are not afraid of hard work or fatigue at all. As long as they can lose weight, they will do anything. Well, you little guys, I can see that you are in pretty good shape today. Yi Xian was watching the children and found it funny, but he immediately started teaching them. Okay, let's get back to the point. Now that you're here, listen to Daddy. Daddy will teach you how to lose weight. In fact, losing weight is very simple. As long as you can consume more calories than you take in, you will lose weight naturally and easily. The children bit their lips and looked up at Yi Xian, listening very attentively. When they heard the word calories, no one knew what they thought of, but their eyes suddenly lit up. Oh. I get it, Dad. So we just took in too many calories, right? Yeah, that's right, you guys are just consuming too many calories. Yi Xian nodded slightly when he heard this, and the children became even more excited and continued talking. Then I understand, Dad. Should we wait until the food is cold before eating it, so we won't gain weight? Then losing weight does sound quite easy. Then I will make a plan now to eat 3 ice creams every day. Yi Xian was listening to the innocent words of the children. He felt so helpless that he didn't know what to say. This is simply enterprise-level understanding. I was actually left speechless by these little guys. Ha ha ha. How could you understand it like that? Similarly, Long Ling and Wang Xinyao next to them were also laughing so hard that they fell over. These little guys are so funny. This is simply the source of happiness. The two of them were almost amused by them. Is there something wrong with our understanding? The children looked at Yi Xian, Wang Xinyao and Long Ling's reactions, but they were all a little confused. They couldn't think of anything they had said wrong. Hey, you totally misunderstood. Calories don't mean hot food has them, they mean the things that are in the food. The calories you eat in ice cream are even higher. I will explain these to you in detail later. Now I will teach you some weight loss exercises and you can start exercising. Having said that, Yi Xian let out a long sigh, quickly brought back the topic, and taught the children a few simple movements that can effectively reduce fat and lose weight. The children also followed and learned seriously. These mountain climbers, high leg raises, and burpees are all good fat-burning exercises. However, Yi Xian was also afraid that the children were too tired, so after saying all this, he did not forget to continue giving them instructions. Okay, go and try it yourself. If the movements are too tiring or too difficult, you can run on the treadmill or ask your mother to teach you yoga. Yeah, we got it, Dad. The children nodded quickly, and then couldn't wait to start training according to the method Yi Xian had taught them before. Although these movements sound simple, they are exercises that involve the whole body. After a few sets, the children are already sweating profusely. I'm so tired, but these movements seem to be really effective. We sweated a lot. Well, why don't we go play on the treadmill? I think so. Running can also help you lose weight. After some discussion while breathing heavily, the little guys moved their position to the treadmill and started running in a row. Here, Yi Xian was playing with barbells and dumbbells in the strength training area. He was adept at all movements. Even with extremely heavy weights, Yi Xian could handle them with ease. Chapter 468 Effect. When the other people who were training on the other side saw this scene, they were all frightened and looked at Yi Xian's actions in shock. Oh my god! This must be a professional athlete. His movements and strength are unmatched. What is the combination of strength and beauty? This is the most perfect interpretation. Too amazing. I never thought I'd meet such an amazing person here. As people exclaimed, more and more people in the gym, which was already small in number, began to pay attention to Yi Xian. At this moment, Yi Xian was wearing a simple sportswear, and his body with vigorous power and golden proportions was clearly visible. On the other side, a few little guys had been running for a while and now felt a little tired, so they simply stopped running and turned around and walked off the treadmill. I'm so tired. Can I lose weight like this? Hey! Why don't we go see what Sister Long Ling is doing? She must not be exercising properly. Hey, let's go. We can't let Sister Long Ling be lazy all the time. After that, the little guys started looking for Long Ling in the gym, and soon they saw Long Ling in the yoga room. Long Ling was sitting with Wang Xinyao at the moment, with a pile of cosmetics next to them. The two looked like they were studying something. Mom, Sister Longling, what are you doing now? As we were talking, a few little ones came over with great interest, looking at the pile of cosmetics curiously. You little girls are too young. These are cosmetics for adults. You can't use them now. Longling covered her mouth and smiled, but unexpectedly this further increased the curiosity of the little ones, and they came closer and stared with wide eyes. Now Wang Xinyao and Longling both have light makeup on their faces, which looks like magic in the eyes of the little ones. They look much better than before. Mom! Sister Longling! You both look so beautiful after putting on your makeup. We want to try it too, let's give it a try. Let's give it a try. We are not children anymore. Daddy says we are grown up. As they spoke, the little ones started to act coquettishly, begging Longling to let them have a try. Oh, alright. I'm really impressed by you little guys. Seeing this, the two had no choice but to agree to the little guys. Then Longling took out some lotion and essence from her makeup bag and applied some on the little guys' faces. The little guys were very excited, feeling both novelty and fun. Hey, it's cool and comfortable. Mom, please help us check if we look better now. These cosmetics smell so good, I want to lick them. Longling pouted, not knowing whether to laugh or cry, and said to the little guys in a displeased manner. You guys are such idiots. Not only did you steal my cosmetics, but you're also so conceited. We don't care, we just like to look pretty. Yi Xia pouted and said proudly, and the other little ones also vied to look at their current appearance in front of the small makeup mirror. Hey! What is this, Sister Longling? Can we try it too? At this time, Yi Xi saw Longling's facial mask in the corner of the cosmetic bag, and she immediately became excited. The other little guys also rushed over after hearing the sound. Whitening essence mask, it sounds so high-end. Wait. Can this mask whiten your skin? I want this. I want one too, we both happen to be tanned. For a moment, seeing the effectiveness of the mask, the little ones were overjoyed. They looked at Longling eagerly and said they wanted to try it no matter what. Alas, I have really fallen into the hands of you little guys. Longling shook her head helplessly and had to apply the mask on the faces of the little ones one by one. However, during this process, Longling's heart was bleeding almost every minute and every second. Are you kidding me? This is a very expensive facial mask. In a short while, several little ones had a layer of white facial masks on their faces, and they especially liked the cool and comfortable feeling. But looking at each other's expressions, they couldn't help laughing. Ha ha ha, Sister Yi Jing, are you putting it on now? The mask is so scary. Xia Xia, you're still talking about me, go look in the mirror. It's really fun. I can play pranks and scare people when I wear this. Wang Xinyao and Longling were so happy watching the little ones playing with their face masks on. It turns out that these girls are the ones who can bring the most joy. After playing like this for a while, Longling saw that the time was almost up, so she called a few little ones and prepared to tear off the masks on their faces. Okay, take off your masks now. But this made the little guys unhappy. They shook their heads and were unwilling to take them off. Sister Longling, no, we still need to continue applying the mask. It may not even turn white now. Ah. Sister Longling is too stingy. We have already pasted it. Does Sister Longling want to take it back and reuse it? Mom, Sister Longling is bullying us again. Longling was so confused after hearing this. My goodness, it was just that the mask had expired. How could he become a bad guy again? It turns out that there is really nothing I can do with these little guys. This is really a thankless task for me. Your Sister Longling is right. You only need to leave the mask on for 15 minutes. Leaving it on for too long is bad for your skin. Wang Xinyao covered her mouth and smiled, then had to pick up the recommended usage time on the package and show it to the girls. So that's how it is. Then I'll tear it off right now. After hearing this, the little ones were shocked and quickly took off the masks on their faces. They really cherished their little faces. Sure enough, this is the most effective way. Longling wiped the sweat off his forehead with a wry smile. These little guys were too real. As soon as they heard that it might harm the skin, they stopped applying it immediately. The little ones who took off their masks immediately came to the small makeup mirror and continued to look at their faces, eager to see the results. Wow! I seem to have really become whiter. This is so magical. Also, I feel my skin has become much smoother. I will use this every day from now on. Sister Longling's facial mask is so good. I give it full marks. Now they are satisfied. Although they don't know if it is a psychological effect, it does make them see some results. Chapter 469 Training. Mom, can you teach us yoga? After tinkering with the cosmetics, these little ones are still full of energy and want Wang Xinyao to take them to practice yoga. Okay. As long as you want to learn, Mom will teach you. Wang Xinyao smiled and nodded, then she took a few kids to train in the yoga room. When they were almost done practicing, Yi Xian saw that it was getting darker, so he took the children back to rest. We played outside for a long time today, and the kids went to the gym to exercise for a while in the evening. I'm really tired now. So not long after they went to bed, they fell into a deep sleep. The next morning, Yi Xian got up early, tidied up a little, and went to the children to wake them up. Girls, it's time to get up. We still have to go to the sand sculpture exhibition today. Haha, okay Dad, we'll get up right away. A few little ones yawned, answered in a baby voice, and started to get up and put on their clothes one after another. Seeing this, Yi Xian nodded and began to prepare breakfast for the children. However, breakfast was almost ready, but Yi Xian still didn't see the little guys come out. He thought it was strange, so he walked into the room of the little guys again. You wouldn't know until you see it. You saw these little guys change their clothes, got up, and then lay down again, lazily enjoying the feeling of being in the bed. Huh? You guys are a little weird today. Yi Xian walked over doubtfully, feeling puzzled. Logically speaking, they are going out to play. In the past, they were always the most excited at such times. Why are they like wilted eggplants today? Dad, we don't want to get up. We feel sore all over. Yes, Dad, it hurts every time I move now, I don't dare to move. What should I do, Dad? I really want to go out and play, but I really don't feel well. Hearing Yi Xian's question, the little guys pouted and complained about the discomfort in their bodies, and wrapped themselves in the quilts a little tighter. Well, so who told you to work out so hard last night? Is this okay now? Hearing this, Yi Xian also understood the reason, and felt even more amused and helpless. How could these girls be so troublesome? Dad, we want to lose weight. Yi Shi pouted weakly and said something in a low voice, and Yi Xian also sighed. Ah, so I've learned a lesson this time. You can't rush into anything. You can't eat hot tofu if you're impatient. How about this, Daddy will give you a massage, and you'll be fine. As he said that, Yi Xian rolled up his sleeves and came over, starting to massage the little ones one by one. Thanks to Yi Xian's professional techniques and just the right amount of strength, the massage made the children feel a lot more comfortable, and it seemed as if the soreness in their bodies was almost disappearing. It feels so good. Daddy is so great. Really? I feel much better now. Hey, luckily Dad is here, otherwise we wouldn't be able to go out and play today. The little ones closed their eyes gently and enjoyed the massage Yi Xian gave them. After a while, most of the discomfort in their bodies disappeared. Afterwards, Yi Xian took the children out to wash up, and then came to the living room to prepare for breakfast. Yi Xian prepared some simple sandwiches and milk for breakfast, but the little ones didn't dare to eat too much. They ate very carefully, which was completely different from their usual state. Wang Xinyao looked at him with some confusion and asked, "What's wrong with you girls? Why do you look like you don't dare to eat?" "Mom, we are afraid of getting fat. Dad said we have to control calories so we can lose weight. If we eat more, we'll really get fatter." Listening to the girl's confident words, Yi Xian helplessly glanced at Long Ling, who was wolfing down the food beside him, with some contempt in his eyes. It's like, look what you've done. Master, I know I was wrong. Seeing this, Long Ling quickly swallowed the remaining food in her mouth, her eyes were evasive, and her face turned red. After all, if I hadn't caused such a scene yesterday, these little guys wouldn't have had to go through so much trouble. After the meal, the children quickly regained their spirits and were eager to go out. They were quite interested in the sand sculpture exhibition. But just when Yi Jing took the lead in changing clothes, she suddenly remembered something. Wait. Are we forgetting something? The other girls thought about it for a moment, then immediately reacted and said in unison, "Sunscreen." As they spoke, the children came to Wang Xinyao happily and lined up to have Wang Xinyao apply sunscreen on them. "Mom, please put more on us so we don't have to worry about getting tanned. It's really terrible to turn black, Mom, you must apply more on us. Hey, once we put on sunscreen, the sun won't be able to do anything to us." Wang Xinyao couldn't help but chuckle as she listened to the children's chattering, and had to give them a little more. After all this was done, it was time for everyone to leave. They packed up their things and went out together. However, just when Yi Xian and others had just gone out, a group of bosses here had already been waiting at the door of the sand sculpture exhibition. They came so early, not because of their fanatical pursuit of sand sculptures and art, but the reason was very simple, which was to welcome Yi Xian. So this morning, they got up earlier than the crowing roosters, tidied themselves up, changed into appropriate clothes, and came here to wait. However, their actions stunned the organizers, who just watched from the sidelines at a loss as to what to do. What the hell is going on? Why are these big guys standing at the door? I don't know. I heard they came here very early. They don't look like they are waiting for someone, do they? Ah. No way. Who on earth is this person who was worthy of being welcomed by all of them? The organizers were all talking in low voices at this time, but the organizer's supervisor did not say a word, but the shock in his eyes could not be shaken off. He knows these people. Any one of them is a well-known figure in the Maldives. Chapter 470 Supervisor. So he didn't dare to delay. After being stunned for a while, he quickly stepped forward to say hello. Hey, bosses. Welcome to our sand sculpture exhibition. As soon as you came here, I felt that this place was brightened up. Bosses, why don't you go in and sit down and take a rest? Standing like this all the time is inevitably too tiring. The CEO's attention at this moment was not on the head of the organizer at all. They just glanced at him and shook their heads slightly. The organizer's supervisor was stunned when he heard this, but the smile on his face became even wider and he continued to smile flatteringly. Is that so? How about I ask someone to bring you some chairs and a pot of good tea? Is that okay? One of the CEOs waved his hand, looked at the supervisor next to him, and whispered. No, we can just stand here. Okay, then I won't bother you bosses anymore. Seeing this, the supervisor didn't dare to disturb him any further and just stood there in a daze, with a storm of emotion suddenly rising in his heart. He secretly looked at the CEOs who were standing straight with their eyes looking forward solemnly, and he couldn't help but feel terrified. What kind of person is this? He can even be welcomed by these real bigwigs in such a grand manner. They were already overjoyed that these bosses could come to their sand sculpture exhibition. But looking at the current situation, there will be people coming later whose status is far higher than these bosses. If not for this, they would never be able to stand here and wait so wholeheartedly, let alone come out to greet them so early. At this point, the other organizers nearby also noticed something was going on. There was an uproar, and everyone was scrambling to guess the identity of the person who would be coming. I see. These CEOs must be waiting for someone. Otherwise, how could they come out and wait so long in advance? It's unbelievable. I haven't heard of any people with higher status than them around here. Even if there are, it wouldn't be like this. I'm afraid the person who will come later will be a truly great person, whose height may be far beyond our imagination. As everyone was discussing, the supervisor became more and more curious, so he just stood among the crowd to see who was coming. After waiting for a while, Yi Xian and his group got in a car and followed the address provided by several bosses and arrived at the entrance of the sand sculpture exhibition. Yi Xian got out of the car first, then opened the door and took Wang Xinyao and the girls in. Mr. Yi is here. On this side, these bosses were suddenly startled, and then they hurried forward, gathered around Yi Xian, and began to ask about his well-being. Mr. Yi, you are here. Great. The children will definitely love this sand sculpture exhibition. We will definitely take you and your children to have a good look later. The sand sculpture exhibition here is definitely worth seeing. Please come this way, Mr. Yi. We have already made arrangements. Suddenly, the stunned supervisor was completely confused by the scene, and stared at it all in amazement with his mouth wide open. He had been mentally prepared that these bosses would be very respectful to this person. After all, considering the boss's previous practices, it was not very strange. But even if he racked his brains, he didn't expect that he would be so respectful. This was really too outrageous. Apart from anything else, Yi Xian looks too young. This picture seems unharmonious no matter how you look at it. This can only mean that Yi Xian's identity must be so terrifying that he cannot even imagine it, which can explain the respectful attitude of these bosses. Thinking of this, the supervisor shuddered all over and quickly walked up to him, greeting Yi Xian enthusiastically. Welcome, sir, to our sand sculpture exhibition. I am the supervisor here. Yi Xian glanced at the supervisor, smiled and nodded. It was this friendly smile that made the originally nervous organizer feel a little less stressed. After all, such a person is respected so much by those big bosses, let alone him. Dad, when are we going in? I can't wait. As they were talking, Yi Shi, who looked small compared to everyone else, tugged at Yi Xian's sleeve and stared eagerly at the sand sculpture exhibition hall inside. The other little guys were also looking at Yi Xian, and now they just wanted to go in and take a look to see what this sand sculpture exhibition looked like. Let's go in then. Seeing that the girls couldn't wait any longer, Yi Xian didn't say anything else and led the children forward. Sir, let me show you around. Upon seeing this, the organizer's supervisor immediately came up and walked beside Yi Xian and the others. He had already put aside his status as a so-called supervisor and personally served as a server. There is nothing to say about this. After all, the person coming this time is no small figure. He knows that he cannot be neglected. However, the scale of this sand sculpture exhibition is not small at all, and it is divided into several exhibition areas front and back. The exhibition area at the front is a small exhibition area, and there are large exhibition areas and delay exhibition areas at the back. At this moment, quite a few people have gathered around, many of whom are tourists from nearby who come here to see the sand sculpture exhibition. After all, simply piling up sand may not be difficult, but sand sculptures elevate this children's favorite activity to the level of art, so it is rare to see. Unlike other sculptures, sand sculptures are incomparable to other types, whether in terms of the difficulty of shaping or the patience and skills poured into carving. So maybe these are just short-lived works, but their artistry and ornamental value are eternal. They are works that come from the earth and are close to the earth. Walking into the small exhibition area, you will see some small sand works, such as some celebrity sculptures or landscape sculptures, and of course many lifelike animals. This immediately attracted the attention of several little ones, and they ran around excitedly in the exhibition area, loving these exquisite sculptures very much. Wow! These sculptures are so beautiful. I love them so much. Really? It's so beautiful. Compared to this, the sand pile we made before is nothing. What an amazing technique. Too bad none of us know how to do it. Several little ones were holding hands, admiring the works in the exhibition hall, and mumbling to themselves. Chapter 471 A Stroke of God. Their appearance quickly attracted the attention of many tourists in the surrounding area and soon became a topic of discussion. There is no way, these little ones are so cute, and their looks are beyond imagination, so their every frown and smile are particularly lovable. What's more, at this time their eyes were looking at the sculptures carefully. Their seemingly careful and serious expressions actually carried a hint of innocence and liveliness, which made the tourists amazed. What cute little girls! How old are they? And they are so pretty! What a bunch of cute kids! I don't know who they are from. They are so lucky. That's right, not every family can have such cute children, they are so adorable. At this time, many people were looking at these little ones intentionally or unintentionally, as if they could feel a kind of spiritual joy from their innocent eyes. After all, people tend to like cute and beautiful things, let alone these extremely cute and beautiful little girls. Watching the children walking further and further away in front, their attention firmly attracted by the sand sculptures, Yi Xian and Wang Xinniao didn't pay much attention. They are still children, and it's right that they like to explore, and these are all sand sculptures that they have never been exposed to before. The organizer's supervisor walked beside Yi Xian along with a group of CEOs, introducing the event incessantly as they walked. Mr. Yi, these are works created by many of our sculptors and sand sculpture enthusiasts, especially for the sand sculpture exhibition. Our small exhibition area covers almost all current forms of sand sculptures, which is definitely worth a careful look. Look at this sand sculpture. It's a three-dimensional sculpture of a lion preying on an antelope. It was created by a sculptor who loves to study animals. So he, who is close to countless wild animals on the prairie, can skillfully create such works. You can think about it carefully. Although this is a sand sculpture, it actually shows the power of the lion when hunting and the tension of the antelope running for its life. After listening to the supervisor's introduction, Yi Xian looked at the sand sculpture and nodded slightly. Indeed, although sand is used, the artistic conception and the sense of oppression of the lion on the antelope are very realistic. Undoubtedly, this is a wonderful work that can only be created by someone who has made considerable achievements in sand sculpture or other sculpture fields. Dad! Why are you so slow? While Yi Xian was still looking at the sand sculpture, a few little guys ran over and got into Yi Xian's arms. You little ones, we are here to appreciate these works of art, so of course we have to take our time. Yi Xian smiled as he watched them explain, then continued. You have to know that when you appreciate any work of art, you can't just glance at it once. You have to look at it carefully to gain more insights from it. So Dad still hopes that you will slow down, talk about these works more clearly, and carefully feel the state of mind that the author hopes to bring to us. After listening to Yi Xian's words, some of the girls still didn't quite understand, but they still nodded. Yeah, we got it, Dad. Afterwards, several little guys also began to learn from Yi Xian, slowly observing these sand sculptures, and feeling exactly that they could really see more things. The supervisors and the CEOs were not idle either. Seeing how Yi Xian educated his children, they couldn't help but praise him. Alas, Mr. Yi is Mr. Yi, and he has special methods for educating children. Mr. Yi is indeed someone we need to look up to. And one look at Mr. Yi shows that he knows a lot about art. Mr. Yi really leaves us speechless. We are not usually so meticulous. On this side, Yi Xian listened to the somewhat flattering praises from the crowd, but he didn't take it to heart and just nodded slightly. Unexpectedly, at this time, the few little guys who had just walked forward came over again and looked at the organizer's supervisor in confusion. Uncle Supervisor, the sand sculptures here are very beautiful, but I always feel that they are a little weird. That's right. These sand sculptures are so beautiful and amazing, but if the exhibition here is over, will they be destroyed directly? Ah. These are all the works that the authors worked so hard to create. If they are all destroyed after the end, will they be very sad? After hearing the children's questions, the supervisor thought these little girls were really cute and happily answered them. You don't have to worry about that, because although it's more difficult to make a sand sculpture from scratch than other sculptures, it takes shape very quickly. And the materials we are using now are all sands with good ductility, but after the exhibition is over, we will use other methods to process them. So altogether, our sand sculptures can last for a long time and people can enjoy them for several months. Oh, it turns out there are so many details here. The children nodded in sudden realization and felt much more relieved now. Afterwards, they did not walk further, but chose to follow Yi Xian and look at these sculptures carefully. Of course, the supervisor was still happy to introduce these sculptures to Yi Xian and others. As the organizer and supervisor here, he has his own insights into the art form of sand sculpture, so the little ones listened very carefully and immediately felt that they had learned a lot. However, this is a small venue after all, and the scale is relatively limited. After walking around for a while, I finally got to see this small work area. Manager, do you think there is a large exhibition area inside? Walking to the last sand sculpture at the end, Yi Xian suddenly remembered what his supervisor had said before and asked about the situation inside. Yes, Mr. Yi, we also have a large open-air exhibition area inside, and the total area is several times larger than here. And the sculptures inside are truly masterpieces. I definitely recommend that you, Mr. Yi, bring your family and children in to take a look. It's just that. But when he got to the latter part, the supervisor's tone seemed a little hesitant. Yi Xian and the children were immediately confused and looked at the supervisor in unison. Chapter 472 Helicopter. It's okay, boss, just tell me. Although Yi Xian was curious, he still smiled and waved his hand, indicating that the supervisor could say whatever he wanted to say. Well, it's like this, Mr. Yi. Regarding the large exhibition area here, I personally recommend that you sit in a helicopter to watch it. This way, both the view and the angle of appreciation are much greater than just walking in. That being said, it's still a bit difficult. This helicopter is not that easy to get. After hearing what the supervisor said, Yi Xian nodded slightly. This was indeed true. Although the girls next to them really wanted to ride in a helicopter to watch those large sand sculptures, they could only express regret since there was no helicopter. That's right. We don't have a helicopter, so we can only walk in and take a look. But I still feel it's a pity. It would be very comfortable if I could watch it from a helicopter. But there's nothing we can do. We don't have a helicopter like this. If only we could fly like birds. But when the bosses heard this, they immediately became excited, slapped their heads and said to Yi Xian excitedly, Mr. Yi, I almost forgot. We have prepared several helicopters. Yeah, if the supervisor hadn't said this, I really wouldn't have remembered it. Mr. Yi, look at this. Why don't you follow us to the helicopter? It will definitely be more comfortable to sit on it. As they spoke, the bosses all looked at Yi Xian, ready to go find a helicopter immediately as soon as Yi Xian nodded. This. But this made the supervisor stunned. He wondered what kind of person Yi Xian was. These bosses were too well prepared. This is definitely not just for the sake of doing the job, it must have been prepared for a long time in advance. Okay. Thank you for your help. Yi Xian knew that these little guys were very interested in helicopters, so he nodded immediately and walked outside with the bosses. After a while, these bosses brought Yi Xian and the others to an open space outside, where they indeed heard several small helicopters. The children's eyes were shining with excitement, and soon they pulled Yi Xian up one by one. After Yi Xian fastened the safety buckles for the children one by one, he rubbed their heads lovingly and reminded them again. Although there are safety measures, you still have to sit tight and hold on. Yeah, Dad. We got it. The children nodded heavily, their legs still shaking gently, all looking forward to the scenery they would see after takeoff. Soon, after the pilots went through a series of preparations and adjustments, several helicopters took off together, and the propellers scraped through the air, making bursts of harsh noises. But the girls didn't care at all. They blinked their little eyes and looked down, imagining the magnificence and grandeur brought by those large sand sculptures. While I was thinking this, the helicopter was flying steadily higher and higher, passing the small exhibition hall and arriving at the large open-air exhibition hall inside. Is this really a sand sculpture? This is too exaggerated. The next second, the little ones who saw the large sand sculptures were stunned instantly, and they all stared at the works below intently. Among them is a huge sand sculpture of a mermaid, the size and degree of completion of which are simply astonishing. There are also other palace sand sculptures, sphinx sand sculptures, and some different large sculptures nearby. However, the more the children watched, the more excited they became. They simply could not imagine how these magnificent works were completed. Dad, how did you make these sand sculptures? They look really great. But this sand sculpture is so big, it must have been a very tiring project. Dad, do you think this is something we humans can really do? The children were surprised and asked Yi Xian next to them. They still couldn't believe that these were works built by artists or enthusiasts. They were simply amazing and stunning. Well, this is of course a sand sculpture built by us humans. It is something that we can do with human power. Yi Xian smiled and nodded, then began to explain to the confused little guys. First of all, think about it this way. We now have a lot of tools that can help. And with collaboration, many people working together to complete a sculpture, isn't that much easier to imagine? Hey, it seems like what Dad said makes sense. The girls pouted and nodded. Yi Xian became a little more serious and continued. So you little girls have to remember that these things that seem difficult to you may actually be that simple, but as long as you are determined, you can definitely do it. When we climb a mountain, we should not always ask ourselves where we are now or how far we have to go. Take solid steps one by one, and there will always come a moment when you will find that you have reached the top without realizing it. Dad, what you said makes a lot of sense. As a result, the little guys listened more carefully and nodded continuously, agreeing with Yi Xian's point of view. But while the people on the helicopter were still chatting and admiring the sand sculptures, the tourists below were extremely frightened by the sudden appearance of several helicopters. Oh my God? What kind of family is this? They actually took a helicopter to see the sand sculpture exhibition. Oh my God, this is not just one plane, there are several. Fuck. What kind of financial conditions do these people have? Even if they have money, they can't spend it like this, right? Most people present had never heard of or seen such a scene before, and their attention immediately shifted from the sand sculpture to the helicopter overhead. This couldn't help but shock them. After all, they had seen many people driving luxury cars, so they didn't think it was a big deal. However, for most people who visited an exhibition on a helicopter, it was the first time they had ever seen one, and they could hardly imagine that such an operation was possible. As the sound of the propellers reached their ears, the tourists felt that the surroundings were so quiet that only the sound of the wind could be heard, and their expressions became more and more shocked. The little ones sitting in the plane had a great time seeing the large sand sculpture from every angle. They were so satisfied. After a while, the helicopter slowly descended and landed on an open space in the large exhibition area. Chapter 473 Play Together. Yi Xian walked out with the children, and immediately attracted a lot of attention from tourists. Dad, let's go play in the daily exhibition area. We also want to create our own sand sculptures. The children pointed to the daily exhibition area further inside with longing in their eyes. After seeing so many works just now, they were itching to try them out. Good. Yi Xian agreed, and soon everyone brought the children to the innermost daily exhibition area. In addition to plenty of sand and soil, there are also many small tools. At this time, many people have begun to create their own works. The children immediately started to work, found a relatively open space, and began to tinker with their sand sculptures with great interest, with happy smiles on their faces. Here, several bosses were also playing with the children. These were Yi Xian's children, so of course they did not dare to neglect them. The children have seen the sand sculpture exhibitions along the way and are now learning to create some slightly more difficult works. But this may still be a little too difficult for them. Although the process is very careful, the final product is still somewhat unsatisfactory. Dad, did we stack it badly? I think it's so ugly. How did those stupid sculptures do it? Alas, we are still too unprofessional. We can't even do such a simple thing well. The girls looked at their finished products with pouting mouths, inevitably a little dissatisfied. Okay, it's okay, you guys are already great, Dad thinks you look great. Yi Xian stepped forward, smiled gently, comforted the little girls in a low voice, and also affirmed their work. Really, Dad? Are we really that great? The girls looked at Yi Xian with some disbelief and had no confidence in their own work. Yes, you have given Dad a big surprise by being able to do this. Keep it up, you will do even better. Yeah. We got it, Dad. Let's get on with it then. As they spoke, the little guys regained their spirits and continued to squat down and tinker with their new works. And Yi Xian always stayed by their side, with a gentle smile on his face. When the bosses saw this scene, they couldn't help but sigh and recalled Yi Xian from the past. You know, Yi Xian was not like this before, but now he has changed so much. This made them unable to believe it. After all, they had never seen such a smile on Yi Xian's face before. Sure enough, is this the power of children? As long as a man has a child, no matter how strong or cold he is, he will become as gentle as the spring breeze. And along the way, they also saw how much Yi Xian doted on these children. Even when he was saying other things or doing other things, Yi Xian was always concerned about and paying attention to the children's every move. They all saw all of this and now they know very clearly the status of these children in Yi Xian's heart. Thinking about this, several CEOs looked at each other, then walked aside and started discussing. Everyone, I think you all figured it out, right? Well, I've seen it all. Mr. Ye's concern for these children is indeed extraordinary. So I think, what should we do? One of the CEOs said with a smile, which made the rest of the people very confused and moved closer. That's a good idea, but we still have to discuss it with Mr. Yi. I agree. We can talk to Mr. Yi about it. That's it, let's go find Mr. Yi now. After discussing for a while, several people walked up to Yi Xian and respectfully told him about this matter. Mr. Yi, we just discussed it and I have an idea to share with you. What's the idea? Yi Xian nodded and motioned for them to continue, and then they described their arrangements in detail. It's like this, Mr. Yi, we want to arrange a photo shoot for a few young ladies. We are in the Maldives right now, so the scenery is absolutely perfect, and we have the most professional team here. The only problem is that we may need the ladies to stay with us for a day or two. After the bosses said this, Yi Xian immediately understood, but just as he was about to speak, the little guys who were piling sand on the side also came over. Uncle, what is a photo shoot? Is it fun? Who is in the photo? Why are we taking pictures of them for no reason? It sounds so complicated, and a little hard to understand. Although they heard it just now, they still didn't quite understand what the photo album was. Ladies, this photo shoot is all about taking the best looking photos. I'm sure you'll like it. We will go to the most scenic places and let the most professional photographers use the best cameras to take pictures for you. After that, the photos will be further processed, and the final result will definitely be beautiful. Upon hearing this, several bosses quickly smiled and explained to the children, which also perked up the children. Hee. That's great. What I like most is taking nice pictures. Uncle, I want to go. It sounds like taking a photo is definitely fun. Okay. I'm going. Seeing that all the children agreed, the bosses were delighted, and then they looked at Yi Xian. Mr. Yi, what do you think of this? Although the children have this wish now, the matter ultimately depends on Mr. Yi. Okay, thank you for your help. Yi Xian nodded and smiled. Since the children wanted to go, he had no objection. Great. We can go take photos now. The children were dancing with excitement and had already started posing in an imaginative and prescient manner, imagining all sorts of beautiful photos in their minds. Hey! You can go, but you can't cause trouble for others. You must be obedient. Yishan looked at them helplessly, smiled bitterly, and gave some instructions to the little girls. He. Don't worry, Dad. We won't do that. Yes. We are the most obedient ones. After we go there, we will definitely listen to the uncles. The girls pouted and nodded unconvincedly, then continued to play with the sand with their heads down. Although they are looking forward to taking photos, they still want to build the sand sculptures first. Several bosses are not in a hurry yet, and continue to play with the children. After a while, the children had enough fun and were ready to leave with the bosses. Chapter 474 Rest. Goodbye, Mom and Dad. Goodbye, Sister Long Ling. Don't miss us too much, we'll be back after we finish filming. Then we'll go, Mom and Dad, bye. The girls held hands and said goodbye to Yixian, Wang Xinyao and others, and then followed the bosses into the car. These bosses are very caring towards the little ones. Even when getting in the car, they open the doors enthusiastically and protect the children's heads. They only felt relieved after seeing that the children were seated and fastened their seatbelts. On this side, Yixian watched the children leave, then took Wang Xinyao back to the hotel to rest. After all, I have been playing with the children these days and have no time to rest. He himself is fine, but Wang Xinyao has a baby in her belly, so she must have a good rest. Honey, is it really okay to leave the kids alone outside? On the way back, Wang Xinyao was still a little worried about the children and leaned in Yixian's arms. It's okay, Jishi. The children have grown up and are sensible. They know how to take care of themselves. Yixian comforted Wang Xinyao, and after a while, Wang Xinyao finally felt relieved. Slowly, with the slight shaking of the vehicle, Wang Xinyao curled up in Yixian's arms and slowly fell asleep. I'm still too tired during this period. Yixian gently covered Wang Xinyao with clothes. It was indeed quite tiring for Wang Xinyao to run around with these girls during this period of time. It's actually better now, at least she can have a good rest. At the same time, the boss started contacting the owner of the photo studio shortly after the vehicle started. The call was connected quickly. The boss who called briefly explained the situation to the owner of the photo studio, and then drove directly over. Uncle, are we going to take a photo shoot now? The little ones next to him looked at him curiously, both expectant and curious, and they still didn't know where the photo shoot would take place. Ladies, we are on our way to take a photo shoot. We will be there soon. Yeah, I'm so excited. I can take photos soon. The children nodded, looked out of the car window, and leisurely admired the beautiful scenery that could be seen everywhere in the Maldives. However, compared to the leisure of the children, the owner of the photo studio who just received the call was looking at the phone that had just been hung up in a panic. At this moment, cold sweat was dripping down his forehead. He still felt a little dazed, and his feet began to tremble uncontrollably. Because the person who called him just now was not someone else, but one of the CEOs of several largest groups in the Maldives. The moment he received the call, he trembled all over and was almost scared to death. And now those bosses are on their way, who knows when they will arrive. Oh my God! What on earth is going on? The photo studio owner slumped in his office chair, looking at the ceiling, took a deep breath, then hurriedly put on his coat and walked out. Faced with such a situation, he dared not be negligent. Although he still didn't know the purpose of the boss who called, he still went downstairs to greet him as soon as possible. So on the way from the office to the entrance of the photo studio, the boss's expression and steps were quite messy, and he even almost fell. Boss, what's wrong? It looks so weird. Yeah, I've never seen the boss act like this before. Did something happen? There must be a problem. Otherwise, given the boss's personality, he wouldn't be so flustered. Along the way, the employees also noticed that the boss's expression was unusual and started discussing it in private. But he was the boss after all. Although they were quite confused, they did not dare to ask too much and just watched from afar. At this moment, the boss had already come down to the door, and was standing there waiting respectfully, rubbing his hands together nervously, and the veins on his head were bursting. There was no way, the other party's identity and background were too great, and I didn't know what was going on. He actually came here in person. After waiting anxiously for a while, finally, with the sound of whistles, a convoy of luxury cars drove towards the side. Ah, this. Seeing this scene, the photo studio owner felt dizzy and almost fainted. His mind went blank. There is actually a whole fleet of luxury cars here. What is going on? Did I go out without checking the almanac today? This is too outrageous. Fuck. Did you see all those luxury cars coming down there? Is this true? No wonder the boss was so anxious just now, it might be because of this. Unbelievable, who are these important people here? The employees at the photo studio upstairs also widened their eyes, leaning against the window and looking in surprise, finding it unbelievable what was happening before their eyes. Here, several CEOs got out of the car first. Seeing this, the CEO was stunned again. Why are they all here? The person who called him just now was just one of the CEOs. Unexpectedly, the CEOs of the largest groups all came in person. He himself had not expected such a situation to happen in front of his own photo studio. What virtue and ability does he have? What is the purpose of these CEOs? Although he couldn't figure it out for the time being, the photo studio owner had already walked up quickly and respectfully greeted the several CEOs. Dear distinguished bosses, welcome to my photo studio. I am truly flattered. The bosses nodded, and did not say anything in a hurry. Instead, they hurried over to open the car door and welcomed the girls with smiles on their faces. Ladies, we're here. Hey, is this the place to take photos? The girls came down excitedly, blinking their eyes and looking at the photo studio in front of them. What is this? The owner of the photo studio nearby was even more confused at the moment. He stared at these girls with wide eyes, and the shock in his heart was earth-shattering. You know, the status of these bosses is already the best here, but looking at their attitude towards these girls, it is even more terrifying. Even people like them, at this moment, were smiling and carefully leading the maids down, fearing that anything might go wrong. And what are the identities of these little girls? They are probably more terrifying than these bosses. Chapter 475 Honor. Boss, come here. Here, after the bosses took care of the little ones, they waved to the photo studio owner who was standing there in a daze. I'm here. Do the bosses have any instructions? The owner of the photo studio hurriedly walked forward, listening to the instructions of the bosses with anxiety in his heart. Don't be too nervous. We came to your place to take a set of photos for these children. As for the price, it doesn't matter, but the quality must be guaranteed no matter what. So just bring out the best equipment and team, and the photos you take must look good. The chief executive briefly explained the matter, and the chief executive nodded heavily, then patted his chest and promised. Don't worry, bosses. I will personally supervise and ensure that you and the ladies will be satisfied. Well, that's good. The boss was satisfied with the situation, and then he smiled and looked down at the girls beside him, and spoke softly, pointing at the photo studio in front of them. Ladies, we can go in now. Yeah. Okay, uncle. The girls nodded obediently, and then several bosses led one girl each and walked towards the photo studio. This must be the daughter of some important person, right? The boss who was walking behind swallowed his saliva, looked clearly at everything that was happening in front of him, and his heart was filled with waves. He was not a fool, so he naturally knew that these little girls were not the daughters of the bosses, and they should not be the children here either. Therefore, the only possible explanation is that the identities of their parents are something they cannot even imagine. After thinking this through, the boss understood in his heart that no matter how much money he could make this time, or even how much he lost, it was all secondary. The most important thing is to do your best to perfectly meet the requirements of the bosses and girls. Otherwise, to put it bluntly, he had no idea whether his photo studio could continue to operate here. Next, the boss quickly walked into the photo studio and immediately called together his most professional team. After briefly explaining the task, everyone in the team, whether it was the makeup team, the shooting team, the lighting team, or the final post-production team, felt tremendous pressure. After all, the identity and background of the client this time were enough to make them feel suffocated. Even their bosses don't know who their parents are, but just looking at the cautious expressions of those CEOs, one can already see many problems. Then, the boss brought his team to the VIP lounge where several bosses and girls were, and planned the shooting schedule in detail. First, the boss picked out several places that were most suitable for filming. After the children's choices and the strict review of several bosses, it was finally finalized. Immediately afterwards, the makeup team brought the children to the dressing room and carefully prepared the preliminary work for the children's photo shoot. The girls sat obediently on the chairs, looking at the makeup mirror in front of them excitedly, and their feet couldn't help swinging. According to Yi Xian and Wang Xinyao, they are typical little brats. This is not to say that they are not well behaved, but they are just too vain. When they have nothing to do, they often ask Wang Xinyao and Long Ling to put on makeup for them. So now, with the help of professional dressing rooms and makeup artists, the children are enjoying it even more and look at themselves in the makeup mirror without blinking. Sister, you guys are so good at makeup. You made us look so pretty. Hee hee. When we grow up, we want to learn how to put on makeup like our sister. It turns out that you can dress up carefully before taking a photo shoot. I love photo shoots so much. The girls looked at their increasingly refined makeup in the makeup mirror and chattered non-stop to the makeup artists. They are well aware of the extraordinary nature of these little guests, but they also love the children's innocence and cuteness. While putting on makeup, they still respond to the children with a smile. Okay. When you grow up, you can come to me and I will teach you how to put on makeup step by step. How about that? You guys are so cute, I like you guys very much. You guys are already very beautiful, and now with your makeup on, you look just like little princesses. Hearing this, the smiles on the little ones' faces widened, and their favorable impression of these makeup artist sisters instantly increased a lot, and they nodded excitedly. Yeah. Sister is fine too. We like your sister too. Her makeup skills are really amazing. That's right, the skills are much better than those of Sister Long Ling. As she was speaking, Long Ling, who was thinking about the wedding plans in the hotel room, suddenly sneezed, and the sound echoed throughout the room. Achoo! Long Ling frowned, rubbed his nose, and started to mumble. That's weird. Did someone say something bad about me? When we got back here, the kids had all put on their makeup and were staring at themselves in the mirror with their eyes wide open. Ah! I look so good. So beautiful. I've never put on makeup that looked so good before. Thank you, sis. You guys are awesome. Several makeup artist sisters also smiled, but they couldn't help but sigh in their hearts at this moment. They have done makeup for countless people, but the looks of these little ones are beyond their imagination. They are already pretty and cute, and now with this complete makeup, it's simply heart-melting to look at them. So cute. Who is so lucky to have all these little angels at the same time? I'm so envious. If I had such a cute and beautiful little daughter, I would dress her up as the most beautiful little princess every day. Their parents' looks are probably even better than we can imagine. Now that the makeup is done, the rest of the crew is also packed up outside, waiting to head out to the shooting location at any time. Several CEOs came out, each holding their children's hands. They were now wearing cute little dresses. Combined with the makeup they just put on, they look stunning and picturesque at this moment. For a moment, everyone who saw this scene was completely stunned, and was immediately immersed in the cuteness of the children and couldn't extricate themselves. This is so cute. I would believe this is the real princess from the fairy tale. How can there be such a cute child? And his appearance is so amazing. It is my honor to photograph such a lovely child. Chapter 476 Supervision. The staff here were almost going crazy, thinking that even those child stars who became famous after their debut could not be compared with these little girls. If they were to shoot some TV movies or something and put them on the big screen, it would probably not take long before they became popular all over the world. By then, they will be the brightest stars and moons in the sky, and everything else will become dim. At this moment, the bosses were just walking this short distance with their children, but it seemed like an unknown amount of time had passed to everyone. Ladies, get in the car, we can start shooting. Yeah. Okay, uncle. Several bosses said this and personally opened the car doors for the children. The other staff also came to their senses and hurriedly got into the cars. Finally, after everyone was ready, the convoy set off in a mighty manner, and even the owner of the photo studio came along in person. After all, although this time the shooting was no different from usual, the other party's status was too high, so he couldn't rest assured and could only supervise it personally. The car drove slowly on the beautiful and clean roads of Maldives. Everything seemed so fresh and natural. The girls excitedly lay by the window, admiring the scenery while looking forward to the next photo shoot. As the vehicle moved forward, everyone soon arrived at the first shooting location, which was a golden sand beach backed by the sea. But what is different from ordinary beaches is that the water here is very shallow, almost crystal clear. A curved wooden bridge was built on the sea, connecting to another small island ahead. The coconut trees sway in the sea breeze and seabirds glide overhead, full of artistic conception and beauty. Speaking of which, the scenery in almost every place in the Maldives is beautiful, but the scenery here has a unique feeling. Wow! The scenery here is so beautiful. I love it here. It's really beautiful. Shall we take photos here? Great! This will definitely turn out great. A few little ones got out of the car and trotted excitedly on the beach. They really liked the scenery here. After the owner of the photo studio got out of the car, he began to make preliminary preparations with the staff and let the children play on the beach for a while. Ladies, you can start taking pictures now. After everything was almost ready, several bosses waved to the children in the distance. Yeah. Here we come. They were also very sensible. They knew that the filming was about to start, so they put down the entertainment they were doing and returned to the group. The next thing is the work of the staff. They found a suitable shooting location for the children, and the props and lighting teams began to set up the scene. Then it's the photographer's job to help the children adjust their movements, and finally debug the aperture and other data of the equipment. It can be said that the entire team was busy preparing for the children's photo shoots. No one dared to leave any room for themselves and almost used all their best skills. The filming went on in an orderly manner. In just one afternoon, I took the children to 4 or 5 filming locations. By the time we finished taking all the photos, the sun was getting closer and closer to the sea level. It would probably not be long before it got dark. The bosses accompanied the girls to look at the photos, going through them one by one. It's so beautiful. These uncles and sisters are so professional. It's so beautiful. I love these photos so much. Printing them out will definitely be very memorable. It turns out that photo shoots are different from normal photo shoots. They really do look much better. The little girls were quite satisfied with the photos, and the bosses nodded after seeing them. Yeah, not bad, this photo studio is really good. As long as you ladies are satisfied, look at how beautiful you are in the photos. The effect is quite good. I don't think there is anything to complain about. Although several bosses are not deeply involved in professional photography, one can still appreciate the hard work put into them from looking at these photos. But what they say doesn't count. The most important thing is that the children are satisfied. The owner of the photo studio was also standing by anxiously, nervously looking at the expressions of the bosses and children. But now, the boss can be considered relieved. At least he seems quite satisfied. After all, those sent out today are our most elite and professional staff, and they can present the best results. Ladies, bosses, let's deal with these photos right away. Otherwise it will take a long time. At that moment, the boss said that he would send someone to handle it immediately. The later work plus printing and binding would indeed not take long. Okay, then I'll leave it to you, boss. The bosses nodded in agreement, then looked at the little ones kindly and said, Ladies, it will take some time for the photos to be processed. How about I take you out for a nice meal? Okay. Thank you, Uncle. We are all hungry. When talking about delicious food, the kids immediately became excited. After all, they had been shooting for an entire afternoon and were feeling a little hungry. After discussing with the children, several bosses took the children to a high-end restaurant nearby. After sitting down, the bosses ordered almost all the signature dishes in the restaurant, which made the waiter dumbfounded. Can these few adults and children eat so much? But since the guests requested so, they had no choice but to do as they were told and started to go downstairs to prepare. While waiting for the dishes to be served, several bosses took out the gifts they had prepared in advance and handed them to the little ones with a smile. Ladies, here are some small gifts from us. Please accept them. The things that the bosses gave away included not only many top-quality pearls, but also a lot of valuable items. For example, a lot of antique silverware, diamond jewelry, and the like were taken out, and among them there was even the key to an entire island villa. The children fell in love with these pearls at first sight. They loved their natural luster and delicate roundness. Of course, they also knew very well that the other things were given to their fathers by these bosses. Maybe it's not convenient to give it to their father in person, or they forgot about it before, so now they need to hand it over to their father. Okay, Uncle, we will pass it on to Dad. Chapter 477. Thank you, uncles, these pearls are so beautiful, I like them very much. Uncle is so good to us. If we have the chance in the future, we will come to Maldives to visit him. Hearing this, the bosses nodded with satisfaction, thinking that she is worthy of being Mr. Ye's daughter, and she is so smart. After all, they don't look very old, but they have seen countless big scenes. Dear guests, here are your pre-meal fruits. The girls had just put away the gifts when the waiter came up with a plate of cut tropical fruits and introduced them with a smile. These are our local tropical fruits. Please enjoy them slowly. But these fruits immediately attracted the attention of several little ones, because they had never eaten such fruits before. Uncle, what are these fruits? We don't think we've seen them before. Seeing this, several CEOs smiled. They all came from mainland China, so it was normal that they didn't know these fruits. Ladies, these are some of the special fruits in the Maldives. This one is called guava, and this one is called snake fruit. Because these fruits are more suitable for growing in our climate, you rarely have the chance to see them over there. But these fruits are delicious, you can try them. The children had long been curious about these exotic fruits, and when they heard what the bosses said, they immediately picked up their forks and started to taste them. Sure enough, these tropical fruits are sweet in the mouth and have a refreshing aftertaste. They are indeed delicious and immediately captured the children's taste buds. Mmm. So delicious. Although I've never heard of it before, it tastes really good. It's really delicious, uncles, you guys should eat it too. The children were amazed by these tropical fruits. Their texture and taste were very novel, but they didn't feel disgusted at all. One of the bosses looked at the children eating with relish, his eyes suddenly turned, he slapped his head and said, "Oh, ladies, Uncle just remembered that I own an orchard that specializes in growing tropical fruits. If you have time, just come over and pick them. Uncle can do whatever you want with them." An orchard? Really? A few little girls were still eating, and when they heard the boss talking about the orchard, they couldn't help but feel excited. When they thought of the orchard that exuded fruity fragrance and those strange tropical fruits, they couldn't help but become interested in the orchard. Yes, ladies, you can discuss it with your parents after you go back. Uncle welcomes you to come over anytime. How about that? Thank you, Uncle. Then let's go home and ask Dad. The girls nodded in baby voices, and the other main dishes were slowly served up. Ladies, you must be hungry, let's eat first. Aha! Then, the girls started to pick up their knives and forks and slowly enjoyed the meal. Almost every dish brought them great surprises. After dinner, the owner of the photo studio hurriedly drove to the restaurant and delivered the printed inbound photos. Ladies, these are the photos taken today. Do you like them? So fast? I want to see. Seeing that these photo albums were completed, the girls excitedly took them in their arms and began to appreciate them one by one. As expected, the photo album looked much better after post-processing and detail treatment, and the girls were all intoxicated by it. How about it, ladies? Are you satisfied? The bosses next to them asked gently, and the girls were so fascinated by the photos that they nodded their little heads. Uncle, we are satisfied. These photos are so beautiful. Ha, that's good, then we can rest assured. Looking at the children's expressions, the bosses felt relieved. At least the day was not wasted. After dinner, several bosses sent the children back to the hotel. Dad. We're back. After returning to the hotel, the children each held a photo book in their hands and excitedly threw themselves into Yixian's arms. How was it? Did you have fun today? Happy. Our photo shoot is done. Do you look good, Dad? The children then opened their photo albums and let Yixian take a look. Yixian also thought they were good and said with a smile, "Great. You took such nice photos of our little babies." Hey, thanks, Dad. By the way, those uncles also asked us to bring gifts for Dad. At this time, the children suddenly remembered the gifts they had just received, so they put down the photo album and placed all these things in front of Yixian. Why did you bring so many things? Yixian smiled helplessly, took a few quick glances, and then didn't look at it anymore. After all, these things are indeed quite valuable, and many of them are truly worth a lot of money, but to him, they are not that important. Dad, look at these big pearls, aren't they beautiful? The girls' attention was not on other things, but they were always paying attention to the pearls. Since these pearls are specially given to children by the bosses, they are not small in size at all while maintaining their glossiness and roundness. It can be said that if even one of these pearls is taken out and put on the auction, it will instantly become almost the biggest focus of the auction. It is already very rare for pearls to be round, and the price will increase a lot as the size increases. But because of their size, they are not suitable to be worn on the hands. After thinking carefully, Yixian decided that it would be better to make them into necklaces. Thinking of this, Yixian gently approached the girl who was still playing with the pearls with great interest and asked softly, "Girls, Daddy will make these pearls into a necklace for you to wear around your neck, okay?" "Okay, Dad, this will look great." The girls immediately agreed, and Yixian stood up, picked up the phone in the hotel, and called the hotel manager. Not long after, the hotel manager came quickly and Yixian was waiting for him at the door. "Mr. Yi, is there anything I can help you with?" The manager asked warmly and politely, but his eyes suddenly looked at a small transparent bag in Yi Xian's hand. Chapter 478. Enough. What is contained in here is nothing else but the pearls mentioned above. There are probably 5 of them in total. So before Yi Xian could say anything, the manager was already losing his temper. Of course he knew what these were. Logically speaking, they were priceless pearls. Even without taking a closer look, it is enough to tell that the quality of these pearls is top-notch. What's even more outrageous is that there are such a large number and such a terrifying size. If an ordinary person holds these things in his hands, he will definitely subconsciously think that they are fakes. But if it was held in this person's hands, he would not think there was anything wrong with it. I'm sorry to have asked you to come all the way here. I want to trouble you with something. Can you help me deal with these pearls? Yi Xian smiled slightly, but after he said this, the hotel manager was frightened and trembled, speaking in a trembling voice. Ah! Mr. Yi, the price of these pearls is really inestimable. If you want us to help you sell them, it may take a long time. Seeing this scene, the manager subconsciously thought that Yi Xian wanted him to help with the sales. However, they had no idea what to do with pearls of this quality. They were afraid that even at a large auction, they would not be able to sell all of them. Although the guests living on their island are all rich or noble, Su has no choice but to accept that these pearls are too valuable. No, you misunderstood. Looking at the manager's embarrassed and apologetic eyes, Yi Xian immediately realized that the other party's preconceived understanding was wrong. What I'm thinking is that you can help me punch small holes in these pearls, string them with small red strings or something like that, and make a few necklaces. However, after Yi Xian's explanation, the manager not only did not feel relieved, but felt suffocated. These are truly rare and top-quality pearls, and now they are all going to be pierced. Such an approach would undoubtedly destroy most of the value of these pearls, which is simply a madness that is difficult for ordinary people to understand. Mr. Yi, are you sure? Do you really want to drill holes in these pearls? Yes, just simply make it into a necklace. Yi Xian's answer was very straightforward, without a trace of emotion on his face. It seemed that in his eyes, these were no longer top-quality pearls, but just some insignificant little things. Okay, Mr. Yi, please wait a moment. After hesitating for a while, the manager had no choice but to do as he was told. He took the pearls and quickly walked out. On the way, the manager couldn't resist his curiosity. He gently picked up a pearl and waited carefully in his hand for a while. Looking at such a large pearl of such quality, his heart was completely confused and he didn't know how to describe his feelings at the moment. How rich are they to be able to spend pearls like this at will? It's such a waste of resources. Although, there is nothing wrong with using jewelry to make limited edition jewelry. However, the collection value of these pearls far exceeds their use as jewelry. What made his scalp tingle was that he couldn't imagine how much money it cost to get it. But even if he knew the value of these pearls, what was the matter with Yi Xian's nonchalant expression just now? Thinking of this, the hotel manager's pace also increased a lot, and he began to shuttle around the hotel. After a while, the 5 pearls were turned into 5 necklaces after the hotel manager asked someone to process them. Mr. Yi, your necklace is ready, please take a look. The manager personally brought the packaged necklaces back to Yi Xian and respectfully handed them over. Well, that's trouble. Yi Xian smiled, thanked the hotel manager, linked the necklace, and returned to the house. Dad, is our necklace ready? When the girls saw Yi Xian coming in, they all surrounded him excitedly. Yi Xian smiled and nodded, then put the necklaces he had made on each of the children. Wow! It's so beautiful. I love this pearl. Thank you, Dad. Dad is the best. Hey, this size is perfect for a necklace. Let me show it to Mom and Sister Long Ling. Looking at the necklaces around their necks, the children jumped and danced excitedly. They returned to the room and excitedly showed the necklaces they had just received to Long Ling and Wang Xingyao. Mom! Sister Long Ling, look, this is the necklace Dad just made for us. Doesn't it look good? If Mom and Sister Long Ling like it, I can give mine to you. Look, aren't we beautiful now? Seeing the girls' excited expressions, Wang Xingyao and Long Ling felt a little helpless. These little ones were so narcissistic. While the children were still looking at their pearl necklaces with love, they suddenly remembered another thing. Only after Yi Jing and a few girls turned around and threw themselves into Yi Xian's arms did they start talking about this matter. Dad, we forgot to tell you that we ate a lot of tropical fruits today. Those tropical fruits may look strange, but they are really delicious. And uncle has also invited us to go to the orchard to pick fruits. Dad, can we go and have a look? Looking at the clever and cute girls, Yi Xian listened patiently, smiled and nodded. Okay, we can go check it out, but that will have to wait until tomorrow morning. It just so happens that we are going to go back in a few days, so if there are any fun places, we can go check them out. Yeah, okay, Dad. The maids agreed obediently, but when they heard that they would be leaving in a few days, they began to have other plans in their minds and discussed their ideas with Yi Xian. Dad, can we go buy some souvenirs? We want to buy some small things as souvenirs. Ha, this is not a problem, but do you have money? Yi Xian laughed happily, and the girls nodded and quickly took out their small wallets from the suitcase. Yi Jing picked out a few red banknotes from it, and the other children also had some. Dad, look, we brought money with us. These are all the money we secretly saved. Although it's not much, it should be enough to buy some souvenirs. Chapter 479 Novelty. I just wonder if the things here are very expensive. I heard from my teacher that the things you buy at many tourist attractions are extremely expensive. Holding the money, the children started to grumble again, wanting to discuss how to spend the money. This scene made everyone laugh. Yi Xian rubbed the girls' heads and said, feeling somewhat amused. You little guys, you can't use this money here. You have to exchange it into the local currency. Ah. Is it that troublesome? A few little guys pouted, still not understanding why their money couldn't be used here. Okay, since we still have some time, Dad will take you to exchange it. Oh well. Afterwards, the little guys came to the currency exchange office in the hotel under the leadership of Yi Xian. As the most luxurious island in the Maldives archipelago, of course it has such services. A few little guys stood on tiptoe with difficulty in front of the counter, handed over the bills in their hands, and spoke in a baby voice. Sister, can you help us exchange some money? We want to buy some small things here. This scene immediately made the staff at the counter explode. Looking at the cute appearance of the little guys, their hearts almost melted. Of course you can, little cutie. I'll help you exchange it right away. Afterwards, the staff at the counter quickly exchanged the Maldivian currency for the little ones and handed it back with a smile. Okay, little cuties, this is your money, hold on to it. Yeah, thank you, sister. The little ones thanked the staff and took the money. They felt novel as they saw the money they had never seen before. These are banknotes we've never seen before. There are words on them that we can't understand. It's not bad actually. At least we definitely recognize the Arabic numerals on it. Hee hee, that seems to be the case. This way we can go shopping. The children excitedly put the exchanged banknotes in their small bags and left the exchange office contentedly. Even after these little guys left, the staff at the counter were still reluctant to part with them as they watched the children leave. The reason is very simple. These little guys are so cute. They are so delicate and smart. No matter how you look at it, these little guys are so eye-catching and can capture their hearts with just a word or a gesture. Ah! So cute! Give me a dozen more of these little cuties. I am so envious. I have never been so envious of others before. Oh my god, you have no idea how painful it was for me to suppress the urge to hug them just now. As the girls gradually left, the staff members' eyes became somewhat lost and dim, with only the cute looks of the little ones in their minds. At the same time, Yi Xian had already taken the children to the market outside and accompanied them to buy some souvenirs and gadgets. The market here is very diverse, with everything from local specialties to folk costumes and travel souvenirs. So now the market is also quite lively, with lights dotted throughout the market, making it look warm and beautiful. The girls held hands and wandered around the market, looking here and there, having a lot of fun. Yi Xian walked behind the children and accompanied them silently, his eyes always on the children, and he turned a blind eye to the lively scenes around him. In this surging crowd, the few little ones looked even smaller, but they could not be ignored, and many passers-by were looking at them. These children are so cute. Yeah, this is so cute, who is so lucky. Oh my god. I love them so much, they look more delicate than Barbie dolls. Passers-by started talking about it in low voices, and it can be said that they are very fond of these little guys. However, the little ones didn't notice people looking at them at all, their attention was focused on the stalls around them. As I was walking around, I saw the little guy come to one of the stalls. Just as he was about to take a look at what was there, he heard an uncle sitting next to him say, "Little friends, what are you looking at? Can uncle help you?" The children looked up at the old man curiously and asked in a baby voice, Uncle, is this your stall? Ha, of course, this is Uncle's stall. Is there anything you need? Uncle has a lot of good stuff here. The uncle smiled happily and had a good impression of these little guys. Uncle, do you have anything special here, like souvenirs or something like that? Yi Jing looked at the things on the stall. There were so many different things that it was hard to tell them apart, so she simply asked the uncle directly. Huh, souvenirs, there must be some of these, look at these. The uncle snapped his fingers and started introducing the things in his stall to the children. Children, if you want to buy souvenirs, then you have come to the right place. I have everything here. Look at this. These are Sri Lankan black teas that are popular in our capital. They are delicious. You can take some back with you. And these are handicrafts made of shells. There are many kinds. I think there will be some that you like. As for other stamps, as well as wooden lacquer boxes and wooden carved fish, Uncle has them all here, just take a look and choose. Uncle will give you a discount. Hearing this, the children became somewhat interested and squatted beside the stall to start choosing. You know what, this Uncle's stall really has a complete range of items, and there are some rare gadgets that the kids haven't seen anywhere else. After selecting for a while, each child picked out a number of their favorites and also prepared some to share with their friends. During this process, a few little guys stayed at this stall to pick things out, and passers-by looked over there intentionally or unintentionally. In a short while, more and more customers gathered in front of the uncle's stall, which made the uncle a little confused. My goodness, I have been setting up a stall here for a long time, but what is going on today? Even the stall owners at the nearby stalls were looking at the uncle's stall in disbelief, all with puzzled expressions. Chapter 480, Open. This is really weird. Why do so many people come to this guy's stall? I don't know. It's strange, the things he sells are not much different from ours. Wait. I remember now. Pay attention, it's because of those little girls over there. As he was speaking, one of the stall owners noticed a few little guys who were concentrating on picking things, and he suddenly realized. What? Let me see. Upon hearing this, the others came to his side, and after seeing it from this perspective, they all understood. Because Yi Jing and several cute little ones were always picking things out there, passers-by noticed such adorable kids and couldn't help but rush over. So many people don't go there to buy things at all, they go just for these little guys. And as more and more people came, those who came over later were also very curious even though they didn't know what was going on. So as a result, many customers in the market came to the stalls here. I was wondering why this is so strange. Turns out it's because of these kids. This is too much of a cheat. They even have a spokesperson. But you have to say it, these little guys are so adorable. I really don't know how much blessing their parents have accumulated. The stall owners were talking about it, but there was nothing they could do. Now it seems that as long as Yi Jing and the other kids haven't left, they won't have much business for the time being. Finally, the little guys here also picked out what they liked and waved to the boss. Uncle. We have chosen. Can you help us calculate the price? Okay kids, Uncle will calculate it for you now. When the uncle heard the children talking, he finally came to his senses from his shock and started packing bags for the children. When calculating the price, the uncle didn't do it seriously, he just took a casual look. After all, these kids today have brought him a lot of business, so he doesn't dare to charge more. He has to at least give them some endorsement fees or something. Children, these are your things, take them. As for the price, Uncle will give you a discount. Just give me 200 yuan raffia bills. The uncle smiled and stretched out 2 fingers. The little ones nodded and took out 2 brand new local currencies from their small bag. Uncle, here's some money. Okay, kids, take care. Come back when you have time. Yeah. Thank you, Uncle. Finally, after paying, the children came to Yi Xian carrying a big bag of selected souvenirs. Dad, look how much we bought and we only spent 2 bills. Hee hee, the things here are still very cheap. Dad, that uncle just now was very nice and even gave us a discount. Yi Xian listened to what the maids said, and then looked at the big bag in their hands, and couldn't help but feel a little amused. These 2 pieces of lafia are worth less than 100 yuan when converted into Chinese currency. These things are definitely not that cheap. However, seeing the children so happy, Yi Xian didn't say anything and just nodded slightly. You guys are awesome. You can shop by yourself now. It's getting late now, shall Dad take you home? Okay, Dad. After the children finished shopping, they felt satisfied. They nodded obediently and agreed to Yi Xian, and followed him back to the hotel. After returning home, the little ones could hardly open their eyes and fell asleep while playing on the sofa. They were taking photos outside today and going out to buy souvenirs in the evening. It can be said that they didn't stop all day. By now, they all couldn't resist the overwhelming sleepiness and fell into sleep without realizing it. Are you all asleep? Yi Xian came over and saw this scene and was also stunned. He had just come back to take a bath, and these little guys had all fallen asleep. However, seeing this, Yi Xian did not wake up the little ones, but carried them back to the room, one in each hand. After covering them with quilts one by one and watching them sleep more and more soundly, Yi Xian finally felt relieved and went back to his room to rest. The next morning, the children got up early and woke up Yi Xian, Wang Xinyao, and others. Because they had agreed to go to the boss's orchard to play today, the children were full of energy. After breakfast and some preparation, everyone drove to the boss's orchard. Here, the bosses who had already learned of the news were all waiting at the entrance of the orchard. Because Mr. Ye's entire family was coming today, they got up at daybreak and rushed over. No one dared to neglect them. After waiting for a while, the bosses suddenly heard the sound of an approaching car engine. They were startled and knew that it was Mr. Yi. The car carrying Yi Xian and others was parked directly in a wide area next to the orchard. The bosses rushed over to greet them, personally helped Yi Xian and others open the car door, and greeted them warmly. Mr. Yi, Mrs. Yi, and several other young ladies, welcome to my orchard. Now is the time when the tropical fruits here are at their best. You have come at the perfect time. Mr. Yi, please come in quickly. We are all ready. Afterwards, several bosses invited Yi Xian and others into the orchard. As soon as they stepped into the orchard, everyone smelled a strong fruity aroma. The orchard here is lush and green, and its area is not small at all. It can be regarded as a remarkable orchard in the Maldives. The girls felt the sweet scent in the wind and closed their eyes in ecstasy. It smells so good. I can hardly bear it anymore. Hee hee, the fruits here smell delicious. I must eat to my heart's content today. It's best to eat fruit. You won't get fat if you eat fruit. As they were talking, workers from the nearby orchard came over with a number of small fruit baskets and respectfully handed one to everyone. The children excitedly took the fruit basket and began to imagine what it would look like when it was filled with fruits. Of course, before filling their stomachs with these fruits, they first want to fill their own stomachs. Mr. Yi, ladies, we are ready to go. Please follow me. Then, the leading boss led everyone towards the planting area in front. Not long after walking, the view in front of them became wider and wider. Chapter 481 Good Wine. All over the mountains and fields, various tropical fruits are planted. The sunlight shines on them, making the ripe fruits look bright red and attractive. The children carried a small fruit basket in one hand and gently stroked the ripe fruits with the other hand, their saliva almost dripping. Long Ling stood next to the little guys, her expression was exactly the same as theirs, they were all swallowing their saliva and thinking about these fruits. Finally, Yi Xia couldn't help it anymore, and looked eagerly at the bosses behind him and asked, Uncle, can we eat these fruits? Of course you can. Ladies, please help yourself, you can eat as much as you want. Yes. You can pick as much as you want. If you can't take all of them by then, the uncles will find a car to take them back for you. As long as you are willing to come, you are welcome. We are very happy that you can come. The bosses quickly nodded in agreement and even came forward to help the children pick out some big ones. Great. Thank you, uncles, we won't be shy then. After hearing what the bosses said, the children finally let go and started walking around the orchard, tasting all kinds of fruits. I have to say that the fruit trees here absorb sufficient nutrients from the soil. Coupled with the warm sunshine of the Maldives overhead, the fruits grown here can be said to be quite sweet. Each one of them is full and sweet, making the children enjoy eating it very much. Long Ling completely let himself go, opened his stomach and started to eat a lot of fruits, feeling more and more addicted to these fruits. Yi Xian and Wang Xinyao walked at the back, accompanied by the two bosses. Compared to the little ones and Long Ling, the picture looked much more harmonious. Yi Xian supported Wang Xinyao as they walked. Looking at the little ones and Long Ling walking in front of them, he suddenly felt angry and amused. These little guys become like this when they see food. And Long Ling is the same? I could have just ignored him, but he actually joined me. Hubby, let them do whatever they want today. We can have fun for the last 2 days. It's time for us to go back. Wang Xinyao said with a smile, although she also wanted to go through the orchard with the girls and Long Ling, her stomach would not allow it. Okay, then listen to my Xinyao. Let them do whatever they want today. Yi Xian shrugged helplessly and continued to walk slowly with Wang Xinyao, selecting and picking the fruits slowly, and was more focused on feeling the beautiful scenery and fresh air of the orchard. But the little guys in front couldn't control themselves all of a sudden, their stomachs became bigger and bigger, but there wasn't much food in the fruit basket. Compared to them, Long Ling was in about the same condition and was a little greasy from eating. When she stopped, she also stopped a few little guys. Alright. We can't eat anymore. Otherwise we'll be full from eating the fruit later. It seems so. We know about it, Sister Long Ling. The girls opened their mouths in sudden realization and rubbed their stomachs, only then did they realize that they had eaten a lot. Then, the girls stopped talking and started to concentrate on picking. Before long, the small fruit basket was filled with a lot of fruits. Finally, everyone walked around the orchard and reaped a great harvest. The children were very happy to see the fruits they picked by themselves. At this time, the boss who invited the children to the orchard came to Yi Xian and smiled and asked everyone to have dinner together. Mr. Yi, please have lunch here. I'll open a jar of wine, and we can all have a taste. Okay. That's troublesome. Yi Xian agreed with a faint smile, but when the other bosses heard this, they were suddenly cheered up. Wait. Open a jar of wine? In their minds, the words just now were like a shining meteor streaking through the dark night sky, and all their eyes turned to the boss who had spoken. Isn't that what you want to open? Is that true? If it were true, I wouldn't be sleepy anymore. I thought you were going to keep this treasure forever, but now we can enjoy it too. The children carried their own small fruit baskets and were curious when they saw the other bosses suddenly become excited. Uncle, why are you so happy all of a sudden? Ha, ladies, you don't know this. The bosses laughed and looked at the boss next to Yi Xian and said, This is what we are talking about. No. This is the good wine stored in this uncle's cellar. When this wine first came out, it was already considered the best wine in the world. And now that it has been stored for more than 10 years, it must be even more stunning now. As the bosses explained, their faces were filled with excitement, as if they had already opened a jar of wine and started drinking. You guys? You're still thinking about my wine. The boss looked at them helplessly, then did what he said and led everyone to the wine cellar. When they reached the door of a small storage room at the innermost part of the wine cellar, the boss took out the key, carefully opened the door, and took out a jar of wine. Okay. This is it. He brushed the dust off his hands, then excitedly opened the lid of the wine jar. The eyes of the other CEOs were wide open, and just when the jar of wine was opened, the room seemed to be cast with the aroma of wine. The aroma of this wine is very strong. It doesn't smell pungent like other wines, but rather has a mellow smell. Sure enough, it has to be this. What a great wine. I'm almost intoxicated just by smelling it. TSK, 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 TSK. I've been craving this bottle of wine for who knows how long. Today I can finally enjoy it. Oh. We have to thank Mr. Yi for this. If Mr. Yi hadn't come to the Maldives, this kid would be so stingy. I don't know when I can drink this wine. Several bosses closed their eyes and enjoyed the aroma of wine lingering around their noses, and their expressions became more and more intoxicated. This wine is quite old and can be considered a top-quality aged wine. It has been in the boss's wine cellar for some time. Now that it is opened, the aroma is even more rich and tempting. Yi Xian savored the aroma carefully, nodded continuously, and sighed with a smile. Not bad. This is really a jar of good wine. Of course, he had seen a lot of good wines, and the jar of wine that the boss took out was worthy of being called the best among them. No wonder the other bosses have been thinking about this jar of wine for so many years. It seems there is really a reason for this. Chapter 482 Praise. The boss, who had just opened the jar of wine, heard Yi Xian's praise and immediately patted his chest without thinking, indicating that he would give the wine directly to Yi Xian. Mr. Yi, do you like this jar of wine? If you like it, I will give it all to you. Thank you for your kindness, but that's not necessary. I don't usually drink. Yi Xian closed his eyes and shook his head. He really seldom drank alcohol. If he really took it back, he would just move it to another place. Okay, Mr. Yi, let's try some when we eat later. Seeing Yi Xian's refusal, the boss had to give up, and the other bosses finally breathed a sigh of relief. Just now, when they heard that they would give this jar of wine directly to Yi Xian, they almost cried. It's not that they are unwilling, but they have been drooling over this wine for who knows how long. If they really gave it to Yi Xian, they would definitely not be able to drink it. But now, this is the ending they most hope for. At least they can have a few sips, which is still good. Afterwards, everyone took a quick stroll in the wine cellar and then took the jar of wine and headed towards the club. After they sat down in the private room, everyone in the club knew the identities of these bosses and the dishes were served quickly. Seeing this, the boss opened the jar of wine and poured a glass for Yi Xian and the other bosses. As for the little ones, they definitely can't drink alcohol, and Wang Xinyo especially can't drink because of her stomach. Why isn't mine? Long Ling looked at the empty space in front of him and felt his appetite itch when he smelled the aroma of the wine. I'm sorry, Miss Long. This is my negligence. Seeing this, the boss smiled awkwardly, poured a glass for Long Ling, then picked up the glass, stood up and looked at Yi Xian. Mr. Yi. Welcome to the Maldives. I toast you. Mr. Yi. We didn't host a welcoming party for you before, so this can be considered as making up for it. As you wish, Mr. Yi, we'll get started. As they spoke, the bosses raised their glasses and happily drank this jar of premium wine that had been stored for more than 10 years. By now, the jar of wine is no longer in the state of water, but is more like a paste, and has a sticky feeling. Perhaps this is the reason why the ancients liked to use jade liquid and nectar to describe the finest wine. Yi Xian also drank a little. This was indeed a good wine, which became more fragrant as time went by and had a long aftertaste. But while everyone was enjoying the wine, the children were watching eagerly, wanting to taste what it tasted like. It smells so good. I want to have a taste. Look at Dad and Uncle, they drink it and it tastes really good. But we are still too young, and Mom and Dad will definitely not allow us to drink. The little ones spoke softly, somewhat afraid that their parents would hear them wanting to drink. This is something they themselves know. They are not suitable for drinking at their current age and cannot do this at all. But the boss's wine was so tempting that even they couldn't resist the urge to try it when they smelled the aroma. However, no matter how softly they spoke just now, they could not escape Yi Xian's ears. He looked at them with a smile. Dad, what's wrong with you? The little girls suddenly became panicked. Although Yi Xian hadn't said anything yet, their eyes had become evasive. Since you want to try it, that's no problem. Looking at the guilty expressions of the children, Yi Xian smiled happily, picked up the chopsticks, dipped them in some wine, and handed them to the little ones. Dad, can we really taste it? The girls were caught off guard by Yi Xian's sudden move and didn't quite believe it was true. It's okay, just try a little bit, it's no problem. Well, okay then. After Yi Xian said this, the girls no longer hesitated and gently licked the wine on the chopsticks. However, just a second ago, they were still imagining how delicious this wine must be, but the next second, when the girls actually tasted it, their faces suddenly turned bitter. Pa! It's so spicy. This doesn't taste good at all. Is this wine made from chili peppers? It's so unpalatable. So disappointing. So this is what it tastes like. My throat feels burning. Now that the little girls have tasted the sweetness, they have no interest in the wine anymore. What they really couldn't understand was that the aroma of the wine was so tempting just now, but why did it become something else when it entered their mouths? Ha ha ha, how is it? This wine tastes bad, doesn't it? Isn't it a bit different from what you imagined? Yi Xian couldn't help but laugh out loud, and the others couldn't help it either, and a slight smile appeared on the corners of their mouths. Ladies, although my wine is good, you are still too young to drink it. Hey, you little girls are really interesting. Now you know what wine tastes like, right? You guys are so cute. Even if you are greedy in the future, you should know what you can and cannot be greedy for. The girls looked up at everyone with grievance, but there was still a faint smell of the pungent smell of alcohol in their mouths. We got it. We won't mess around again. As they spoke, the girls quickly picked up the drinks on the table and took a few gulps, which made the taste in their mouths a little lighter. After this little episode, even if the children smelled the aroma of wine again, they had no idea at all. They just ate other delicacies quietly. The signature dishes and special dishes of this restaurant were quite in line with their appetites. After a while, the children had almost finished eating, but they couldn't sit still and walked around in the private room. Seeing that the girls were busy, Yi Xian thought it was a good idea. At least they could digest their food after eating, which was better than sitting all the time. After making a lot of noise for a while, the girls felt a little tired and sat down to look at their phones. However, as he was watching, Yixia noticed a message push on his phone and his eyes suddenly lit up. He quickly waved to the other little guys and said, "Hey! Look what this is!" This exclamation also attracted the attention of the other girls, who then came over to Yixia and looked at the screen with their eyes wide open. According to reliable information, tomorrow night, the above-mentioned areas will have the opportunity to see the lunar eclipse, and the Maldives is an excellent observation point. Chapter 483. Really? Really? The person who released the news seems to be a local astronomical meteorologist. This should be correct. He. It just so happens that we'll still be here tomorrow, so we must come out and see it for ourselves then. After seeing the news and the accompanying pictures, they suddenly became interested in the lunar eclipse and excitedly threw themselves into Yixian's arms. "Dad, look at this, this is the news we just saw." "Hey, Dad, we are so lucky. We can see the lunar eclipse here tomorrow. This is great, and it seems that our place is a good observation point." The girls looked at Yixian with a smile, and they had made it very clear that they all wanted to witness the grand spectacle of the lunar eclipse with their own eyes tomorrow. "Yeah, we can go and see it, but do you all know what a lunar eclipse is?" Yixian smiled and nodded in agreement, then asked the girls about their knowledge of the lunar eclipse. "Dad, we all know this, it's the dog eclipsing the moon. I remember we read this in a fairy tale book. It said that a monster would swallow the moon. Dad, if the moon is really eaten by a monster, will we be unable to see anything at night?" The girls only had a vague understanding of a lunar eclipse, so they subconsciously thought that the moon was really being swallowed. "Huh, that's not what you meant." Yixian squatted down, rubbed the children's heads with a smile, and then began to explain to the children some information about the origin of this lunar eclipse. This lunar eclipse is a natural astronomical phenomenon, and has nothing to do with the heavenly dog you mentioned. The reason for the lunar eclipse is that it happens when the moon moves to the exact shadow position where we are. During this process, the entire sunlight in this area will be blocked by the Earth itself, which is why the moon looks like it is missing a small piece. So this is just a special phenomenon caused by covering it up. It has nothing to do with the rumors about the moon being eclipsed by a heavenly dog. Yixian explained the meaning of the lunar eclipse to the girls in detail and vividly, and the girls listened very carefully. However, regarding the rotation and revolution of the planets, they are still too small, so it is still a little difficult to understand. But at least they understood the general idea, and became more and more curious about the process and principle of the lunar eclipse, and looked at Yixian eagerly. "Dad, we roughly understand, so can we go and have a look tomorrow?" "Yes, Dad. The news just said that this is very rare. We can't miss it." "That's right. Dad, just take us there." Faced with the children's request, Yixian immediately agreed. Letting the girls see the lunar eclipse would also broaden their horizons. "Okay, then wait until tomorrow night and Dad will take you to find a slightly more secluded place so that you can watch the entire process of the lunar eclipse." "Yeah. Daddy is the best." The girls nodded excitedly, and their minds once again began to imagine the entire sky and the universe. Not long after, Yixian and his group finished their meal. Several bosses respectfully escorted them out of the restaurant and sent Yixian and his family to the car. "Goodbye, Mr. Yi. You can contact us anytime if you need anything." "Yes, Mr. Yi, you must not be polite to us. Ladies, take care. If you want to eat some fruit, just give me a call and I'll bring it to you." After seeing everyone off to the car, several CEOs still stood respectfully by, waving goodbye enthusiastically. Yixian nodded slightly, then closed the car window and took the children back to the hotel. However, after returning home, the girls were still thinking about the lunar eclipse the next night, and searched a lot of information and videos about it on the internet in advance. So this is how a lunar eclipse works. The universe is truly amazing. Yeah, compared to the moon and the sun, we are so tiny. No. I'm so excited. We can see the lunar eclipse with our own eyes tomorrow night. But seeing it online is not as shocking as seeing it with one's own eyes. They all wish they could go outside to see the lunar eclipse right now. Long Ling looked at their excited faces and felt helpless. But then he thought, maybe this is what every child has, the curiosity and desire to explore the world. The little girls were no exception, and were even more fascinated by it. Through this lunar eclipse, they were able to feel the vastness and mystery of the universe. There was also an inexplicable attraction that guided them to explore outside. For a moment, their watery eyes seemed to be filled with stars. That's great. That's the child. After quietly watching the children for a while, Long Ling took out his cell phone and began to prepare for watching the lunar eclipse the next day. As the saying goes, if you want to do your work well, you must first sharpen your tools. If you want to see the lunar eclipse more clearly, relying on your naked eyes is not enough. So Long Ling had to use some of her connections to temporarily arrange a set of the best stargazing equipment for the children. The boss on the other side who received the news did not dare to delay. He was about to take a break, but he quickly made arrangements. Finally, under the coordination of the boss, Long Ling was promised that the equipment would be delivered to the hotel the next morning. After doing all this, Long Ling smiled knowingly, walked to the window with ease, and began to look up at the sky above. But it would have been better if he hadn't looked at it. Once he looked at it, Long Ling suddenly discovered the problem and couldn't help but become worried. Although I had prepared the best stargazing equipment in advance, it would definitely not work in their place. This is the most luxurious island in the entire Maldives. It is brightly lit at night. How can you see the stars and the moon clearly? After thinking about it, Long Ling was out of ideas, so he had to tell Yi Xian about the problem, hoping that Yi Xian had a solution. Master, we can't do this here. It won't be a very good experience to watch the lunar eclipse here. Yes, that's true. Yi Xian nodded, and after just a moment's thought, he came up with an idea and said it calmly. Actually, this isn't a big problem. Let's find a place to set up the tent. What do you girls think? Putting up a tent? Sure, Dad. This is going to be fun. When the girls heard that they were going to set up a tent, their eyes immediately lit up, thinking that this would be a very interesting and fun thing to do. Chapter 484 Listening. After discussing for a while, it was getting late and everyone went to bed. When they woke up the next day, the stargazing equipment that Long Ling had contacted in advance was delivered to the hotel, and everyone began to prepare for watching the lunar eclipse at night. Long Ling took the little ones to tinker with the equipment that had just been delivered, while Yi Xian took Wang Xingyao to prepare some snacks and desserts for the children. After all, I will be back for a long time, so prepare some food and drinks, and feel more at ease. After making the snacks, Yi Xian went out alone to buy a few tents, and everything was ready. The girls were wandering around the hotel board, looking for various ways to kill time. After all, the lunar eclipse will be at night, so the earliest we can set off is in the afternoon. Finally, as the sun began to set and the temperature of the sunlight became warmer, time gradually shifted to the afternoon. Everyone put everything they had prepared in advance into the car and left the hotel amid the children's excited laughter. As for the location to watch the lunar eclipse, Yi Xian found a deserted beach and drove everyone here. The beach here is very clean and the seawater is very clear. Because few people come here, it seems very peaceful and quiet. Of course, the most important thing here is the view, which allows you to have a complete and unobstructed view of the entire starry sky. So this is undoubtedly a great place for stargazing, and the children are quite satisfied with it. Listening to the sound of waves and seagulls not far away, watching the setting sun gradually falling towards the horizon, time seems to freeze at this moment. The scene was so cozy and comfortable that the children almost forgot that they were here to see the lunar eclipse and were immediately immersed in the beautiful scenery. Girls, come and help Daddy set up the tent. At this moment, Yi Xian waved and called a few little guys over. Although there was still time, there was still a lot of preparation work to do. Okay, Dad. The children were very obedient. They put aside their reluctance to leave the scenery and came over to help Yi Xian set up the tent. Yi Xian, Wang Xingyao and Long Ling on the side were assembling the disassembled stargazing equipment, and soon they had finished everything neatly. Phew! Our tent is set up too. Here, a few little guys wiped their sweat, put their hands on their waists, looked at the tents in front of them, and immediately climbed in impatiently. I have to say that the tent prepared by Yi Xian was very comfortable. The children didn't even feel like they were on the beach when they stayed inside. They almost couldn't help but lie down comfortably. But at this time, Yi Xian didn't let them go in and lie down. Instead, he opened a few foldable portable chairs and pulled the children to sit next to him. Dad, it's still early. Are we just going to sit and wait like this? Yi looked at the setting sun which had not yet set, and asked Yi Xian with a pouty mouth. How about this, you sit next to Dad and he will tell you some astronomy knowledge, do you want to listen? Yeah. I want to. As a result, the children suddenly became alert and looked at Yi Xian seriously, hoping to hear something that interested them. You girls are eager to learn. Then listen carefully and let Daddy explain it to you. First of all, let me ask you a small question. How do you think the universe was formed? Immediately, the children were stumped by Yi Xian's question. They bit their lips and thought for a long time before speaking unconfidently. Dad, was the universe created by aliens? This is such a difficult question. The universe is so huge. No, Dad, I can't think of any other possibility besides aliens. This question is indeed too difficult for the children, but what Yi Xian wants is not to get a satisfactory answer from them, but to induce them to think for themselves. In fact, it is very difficult for us to verify this question, but a scientist has previously made a guess about this issue. It's saying that the universe we live in was formed by a huge explosion countless trillions of years ago. After that explosion, many objects from the explosion were scattered all over the universe, and eventually formed our galaxy and countless other galaxies. And scientists have discovered that even now, the universe may still be expanding, and this is also because of a kind of energy called dark matter. This energy will generate a wonderful force that will be used to accelerate the continued expansion of the entire universe. Although this is just a guess, it is often the first step for us to think. Yi Xian was happily telling the children about the universe, which immediately stunned the children. They had never imagined and looked at the universe and galaxies in this way. At this moment, it seemed that they themselves and the entire Earth they were on had become much smaller. This undoubtedly aroused their endless curiosity to the greatest extent, and they listened more carefully to the knowledge Yi Xian said. Yi Xian was also not vague. He then talked about simple astronomical knowledge, then constellations, and then from constellations to the current human space exploration plan. Not to mention that the little guys were listening with fascination, even Wang Xinyao and Long Ling were sitting quietly by the side listening. Wow! Dad, you are so awesome. It turns out that astronomy is so interesting. The universe is so vast, there must be a lot of things worth exploring in the future. I want to grow up quickly. After listening to what my father said, I feel more and more interested in the sky. The girls all expressed that they had learned a lot. When they recalled the knowledge they had just heard from Yi Xian, they had even more fantasies about the universe and the starry sky. It seems as if at a certain moment, they themselves are in this vast universe, traveling through different galaxies, feeling the different beauty brought by different galaxies and planets. Afterwards, since they still had to wait for a while for the lunar eclipse, the children simply continued to listen to Yi Xian talk about more astronomical knowledge. Finally, before we knew it, the sunset in the sky finally sank below the sea level, and night gradually fell. Looking up at the sky at this time, you can already see some obvious stars, and the outline of the moon is gradually emerging. With the knowledge that Yi Xian had just told them, the little guy's feelings about the stars and the moon above the sky also underwent some subtle changes. Chapter 485 Sleep Well. Before, it seemed that the stars were just stars, they just shined, and the moon was just the moon, it just changed its shape. But now the children know that these stars are actually stars that are countless light years away from the Earth. And the moon, which seems small, is actually a huge monster. Long Ling, who was sitting nearby, saw how beautiful the quiet night sky was and began to use stargazing equipment to watch the sky above. As a top-notch astronomical telescope for stargazing, Long Ling feels that the stars seem to be different from usual. They appear to be brighter and more sparkling, with an indescribable sense of mystery. What's even more exaggerated is that while looking through the astronomical telescope, Long Ling actually saw many details on the surface of the moon. The mountains and the bumpy surface were much clearer. Come and see. You can see many beautiful stars now. The moon is beautiful too. The girls nearby heard it and hurried over, each using an astronomical telescope to observe the distant sky. Colorful, beautiful, majestic and magnificent, these are the best adjectives the girls can think of to describe the sky at this moment. Admiring the night sky on this quiet beach and observing the mystery and magnificence of the stars and the moon is definitely a romantic thing to the core. The place my father picked is so beautiful. It's such a treat to look at the sky from here. Hee. The equipment that Sister Long Ling got is also very good. I've never seen the sky so clearly before. These stars seem so far away from us. But they are so cute. Gazing at the sky, the girls couldn't help but open their mouths and sigh at the everlasting beauty. Perhaps all beauty is short-lived, but this starry sky is eternal. For thousands of years, ever since humans first looked up into the distance, they have been given many special meanings. Perhaps there is longing, perhaps there is love, or perhaps there is contemplation and yearning for the vast universe. Yi Xian looked at the girls with a smile, then looked up at the starry sky together. But suddenly he narrowed his eyes and reminded everyone. Look! There's a lunar eclipse coming. Really? The children were startled, their eyes fixed on the moon, looking forward to the next magical scene. Sure enough, not long after Yi Xian finished speaking, everyone saw the moon gradually disappearing from the left, as if it had been wiped out of thin air. You know what, the visual effect is just as the girls said, as if the moon was being eaten by a celestial dog, and was slowly getting smaller. Not long after, the moon, which was bright and round and emitting a faint white light, disappeared into the night. In an instant, it seemed as if the earth had become much darker. Without the light of the moon, the other stars also became dim. At this moment in the sky, the shadow of the moon has completely disappeared, only some stars are still emitting faint light. However, this scene only lasted for less than a minute, and then the moon seemed to be slowly spit out by the heavenly dog, and the darkness receded like the tide. After a while, the moon appeared in front of everyone again, and everything seemed as if nothing had happened. The sky is still as peaceful, the moon is still as round, everything goes on, returning to its original state. The girls took turns using the astronomical telescope and saw the scene just now clearly. Wow! This is like magic. Could it be that the moon is playing hide and seek with us? It's really interesting. This is much better than the videos I found online. Yeah. We finally saw the lunar eclipse. And it's so clear. Seeing this, the girls couldn't control their excitement. The amazing sight of the lunar eclipse was deeply engraved in their memories. Although it all ended within just a few minutes, in the eyes of the children, it was as stunning as a meteor across the skyline. Even after all this was over, the children still didn't shift their gaze. It seems as if I want to continue observing the moon in the sky to see if there are any other changes due to the lunar eclipse. Yi Xian looked at the girls who were still looking at the sky, smiled and did not interrupt them, but took out the snacks and desserts he had prepared in the morning. Master! How do you know I'm hungry? When Long Ling saw the food, he swallowed his saliva and came over with a smile, and the little guys followed closely behind. Don't I know you guys? You're all greedy cats. Then I don't care. It's a waste if you don't eat it. In the following time, everyone ate something and gathered around the campfire to listen to Yi Xian talk about more strange stories about the universe. I don't know how much time has passed, whether it is Yi Xian or the children, they all feel more and more sleepy, so they all go back to the tent to sleep. The next morning, everyone woke up to the sounds of ocean waves and the cries of seagulls, and the morning sun generously shone its rays on the beach and the tents. Is it morning already? The girls muttered as they opened the tent and looked outside while rubbing their eyes. At this time, Yi Xian had already gotten up very early, rekindled a bonfire outside, and made himself a pot of hot tea. Haha, how was it? Did you sleep well in the tent? Holding a cup of hot tea, Yi Xian smiled and showed concern for the children's sleeping conditions. After all, this tent is not quite the same as a bed. Dad, we slept well and comfortably. Hee. I had a very beautiful dream last night. I love the feeling of sleeping in a tent. It's really cozy. The girls all nodded in unison, and all felt that they slept quite well. Then let's go back? We've been here for a long time. Yi Xian looked at the slowly rising sun, the sunlight shining warmly on his body. Although the scenery here was beautiful, it was time for them to go back. Yeah, okay, Dad. The girls nodded obediently and started to help clean up. Soon, the tent and the garbage were packed up. Yi Xian carried the tent on his back, while the children threw all the garbage into a trash can not far away. After finishing all this, some time has passed, and now we can set off back at any time. However, just when Yi Xian was arranging everyone to go back, a few little guys just stood there motionless, staring at the beach in front of them with stars in their eyes. What's wrong, girls? Why don't you leave? Seeing this, Yi Xian walked over puzzledly, and a few little guys then excitedly pointed at Yi Xian and looked at the beach, shouting excitedly. Chapter 486 Shell. Dad, look, there are so many shells on the beach. These shells are really beautiful. Dad, can we pick some before we go? Okay, Dad. We definitely won't waste much time. Seeing the little ones acting like spoiled brats to him, Yi Xian felt helpless, as he had no idea what to do with them. Okay. I'll help you pick them up over there. Yeah. Daddy is the best. Several little guys jumped 3 feet high in excitement and ran forward with their little feet spread out. Yi Xian could only follow behind and help the children collect these shells along the way. You know what, these shells are really pretty, no wonder they like them so much. Seeing this, Long Ling and Wang Xinyo had no choice but to step forward to help collect them. After a short while, they found a lot of nice ones. Wow! This is so beautiful. Was this pattern really there before? Nature is so amazing that it can make shells so beautiful. Hey! I like this. Look, isn't this color and pattern really cute? Looking at the bag full of shells, the girls couldn't help but squat on the ground and start picking them excitedly, and they almost forgot about going back. Okay girls, we should go back now, you can watch it slowly later. Seeing that if they were allowed to continue like this, not knowing how much time would be wasted, Yi Xian had no choice but to step forward and remind them. Okay, Dad. Let's go now. The girls blinked with guilt on their faces, packed up their beloved shells, and followed Yi Xian back to the hotel. Not long after returning to rest, everyone started to pack up their things. The girls sorted out their own little things and souvenirs, fearing that anything would be missed. Long Ling made a phone call to book a charter flight, and after everyone was ready, they set off for the airport. After a while, Yi Xian and others boarded the chartered plane, preparing to return to Huaxi. The girl leaned against the window, looking at the blue sky of Maldives, feeling a little reluctant to leave. This is indeed a beautiful place, so beautiful that it makes people linger and even want to live here forever. However, the girls still hope to return to China. After all, they still have their familiar home, school, and friends there. Just after the charter plane carrying Yi Xian and others took off, the bosses here learned the news that Yi Xian had returned. Several people stood together, looking in the direction of China. There seemed to be a white contrail faintly visible in the sky, left by an airplane flying by. Alas, Mr. Yi left so suddenly. We only had time to buy something and send him off. Yes. I really don't know when Mr. Yi will come over next time. It's still a bit regrettable that Mr. Yi didn't tell us this news. At this time, the bosses were all sighing. No one went to see Mr. Yi off, and Mr. Yi just went back like that. It's okay. Mr. Yi didn't tell us because he didn't want us to send him off. Another boss next to him smiled and shook his head, saying meaningfully, Mr. Yi probably wants to take his family back quietly and doesn't want too many of us to disturb him. Hearing this, the other CEOs nodded and agreed with the CEO's point of view. But for a long time afterwards, they were still staring at the horizon, until the sunlight became a little dazzling, and then they shifted their gaze. Here, a few little guys are sitting on the chartered plane, looking at the many specialties and souvenirs they have collected in the Maldives during this period. Add to that the photos and portraits that are full of memories, and the girls are really happy looking at them. These are the biggest proof that they have been to this beautiful place. It's great. I will always remember the Maldives. I will come back to visit again if I have the chance. Yeah. Let's come together, it's so beautiful here. Mom and Dad want to come with us, and so does Sister Long Ling. The girls looked at these things one by one and began to talk to themselves. The plane had just taken off not long ago, but they had already started planning the next trip. You girls, we just left, you are too anxious. Long Ling covered her mouth and laughed secretly, while a few little guys stuck out their tongues at Long Ling in dissatisfaction. Sister Long Ling doesn't understand. The scenery here is really beautiful. That's right. This is a romantic place. Hee hee, after Sister Long Ling finds a lover, you can come here and play together. Suddenly, after hearing what the little guy said, Long Ling's cheeks turned a little red. Wang Xinyao, who was standing next to them, was feeling a little amused and helpless. She gently pinched the girl's ears and said, Hey, you little guys, who taught you this? Mom, did we say something wrong? The girls looked at Wang Xinyao with some grievance, as if they were afraid that they had really said something wrong just now. That's not wrong. Wang Xinyao hesitated for a while, but finally had to nod. You girls are so naughty, you made your sister Long Ling blush. Yi Xian smiled happily, glanced at Long Ling, and then looked at the little guys. Master, please stop talking. At this point, Long Ling couldn't help but wailing softly. The little ones had just said that it was okay, but after Yi Xian said this, her face became even redder. You're not a little girl anymore, why are you still being so shy? Yi Xian complained helplessly and didn't say anything else. Instead, he spoke to the girls. We have nothing to do now, so why don't we take out the shells and glue them together and make a handicraft? Anyway, it will take some time to arrive in China, so Yi Xian simply suggested using shells to pass the time. Hee. Daddy is the one with the idea. This will definitely be fun. The little ones became excited after hearing this, and nodded quickly. Then they took out shells and glue and started tinkering with them. What should I do? Looking at the shells and tools in front of them, the children didn't know what to do for a moment, so they had to look to Yi Xian for help. It's okay, just use your imagination and do whatever you want. Daddy will be here to help you. Yi Xian did not choose to restrict the children's thinking. After all, children's imagination is the most unconstrained and should not be constrained. Yeah, okay, Dad. Chapter 487, Not Bad. After hearing what Yi Xian said, the girls felt relieved and began to focus all their attention on creation. Although it is just glued together piece by piece, the process is relatively easy and simple. But the children are always paying attention to the overall shape and using their imagination as much as possible. Yi Xian also helped from time to time, pointing out the girls' mistakes and areas for improvement. This went on for a while, and the shape of a rock spreading its wings was finally created by the girls and Yi Xian working together. Wow! It's actually a big rock. So majestic. Did we really make this? It's so beautiful. Hee hee, it looks so lifelike, as if the rock is about to spread its wings and fly away. The girls were very satisfied with their works and enjoyed admiring them from all angles. Finally, they took out their paintbrushes and carefully painted a pair of eyes for Dapeng. You know what, it really looks like a rock spreading its wings and flying, and Long Ling on the side was amazed when he saw it. Amazing! I've seen this thing sold at tourist attractions before, but I didn't expect you guys to actually make it for yourself. In Long Ling's previous impression, this thing was placed at the highest position on the tourist attraction booth in the Maldives. I believe that if this is possible, the price of this thing will not drop at all. I just didn't expect that the master and a few little guys could actually restore an identical one, and no matter how you look at it, it's better looking than the one at that scenic spot. After finishing the handicrafts, the girls ate something and waited for Dapeng's glue to dry and stabilize before carefully putting it away. Half a day passed, and everyone felt the plane slowly descending to the airport, and they all suddenly woke up from their drowsiness. Dad, are we there yet? HAAA. How long have we been sleeping? I feel like we arrived faster than when we left. Great, we can go home now. A few little guys rubbed their sleepy eyes, looked at the familiar scenery outside the window excitedly, and couldn't help but feel a little excited. After all, China is their home. Even if the Maldives is good, it does not count as their belonging. Only home is their home. Carrying their luggage, Yi Xian and his group got off the chartered plane, then walked out of the airport. Tang Hao drove them back to the villa. After arriving home, everyone hurriedly packed their luggage and returned to their respective rooms to rest and adjust to the jet lag. After a day's interval, on the third morning, the children got up early, put on their school bags, and were sent back to school by Yi Xian. When I walked into the classroom, a few little ones had just arrived, and the other children came over. Ah! Yi Jing, you guys are back. That's great. We missed you so much, you are finally back. Where did you go? Was it fun? Suddenly, the other children in the class began to care about the girls, and during the few days they were away, they were looking forward to their return. Hey, we went to the Maldives. It was so much fun. The scenery there is really beautiful. Yi Jing shared with the children with a smile, and they were also very happy to meet their friends. Then, they took out some specialties and souvenirs they had bought in the Maldives and started distributing them to the children. Hee hee. By the way, we also brought a lot of souvenirs and specialties for everyone has a share. Really? Yi Jing, you guys are so nice. Thank you. This made the other children even happier and they held the specialties and souvenirs in their hands with great joy. Although they were not worth much, they didn't care at all. They just thought that these things were brought by Yi Jing and his friends from thousands of miles away, and they were happy and touched at the same time. Jing, what fun things did you do in the Maldives? Can you share it with us? Zhou Xiaodan hugged Yi Jing with a smile and asked about interesting things about the Maldives. Yi Jing was happy to share them with everyone. Well, when we went to the Maldives this time, the first thing we talked about was the scenery there. The scenery there is very beautiful, with blue sea and blue sky, it is breathtaking. And Mom and Dad took us diving, had a seafood dinner, visited a sand sculpture exhibition, and made sand sculptures myself, but some of them didn't look very good. By the way, we also brought a lot of photos and portraits here, you can take a look. As they spoke, Yi Jing and a few other girls took out printed photos and albums to share with other children. Wow! Really? The scenery in Maldives is so beautiful. The sea and sky here are so beautiful. Yi Jing and Yi Xia, you look so good in the photos. After you put on your makeup and changed your clothes, You look just like the little princesses in the fairy tale book that my dad bought for me. I wish we could go take a photo shoot someday, and I also want to go to the Maldives." Suddenly, looking at these photos and portraits, the children couldn't help but feel envious. They don't have the opportunity to go to the Maldives for a good trip, and looking at these photos, they feel itchy in their hearts. "Really, Yi Jing, I'm so envious of you. Your parents are so good to you." "Yes. I will go and tell my parents about it. I want to study hard and ask them to take me to the Maldives in the future." "Well, actually, we don't have to go to the Maldives. I also want to be like you, put on beautiful clothes and take these fairy-like photos." For a moment, the children were extremely envious, but they were also more curious about the experience of Yi Jing and the other little ones this time. "Yi Jing, can you tell us more? Did you encounter any interesting things this time?" "Yeah, wait a minute, let me think about it." Yi Jing bit her fingers gently, and suddenly her eyes lit up, and she remembered the stranded dolphin she met on the beach before. "Oh, right. I remember now. When we went to the food production area last time, we passed by a beach and encountered a little dolphin that was about to be stranded. We were not sure what it was at the time, so we had to get out of the car and walk over to it. We never expected it to be real." Hearing this, the other children couldn't help but sweat, and were very worried about what would happen to the little dolphin next. "Jingjing, is little dolphin okay? Nothing happened, right?" Chapter 488, Well Behaved. "It's okay. Later, we worked together to lift the little dolphin up and carried it back into the sea. The little dolphin was still very lively and finally swam back into the sea." After hearing this, the other children felt relieved, but they started to ask Yi Jing about the origin of the ingredients. At this time, the teacher also came in. Seeing the children gathered together, he couldn't help but feel curious. "Hey! Are these little guys having a story time here so early in the morning?" The teacher muttered in confusion, and even though it was not yet time for class, he leaned forward to listen to what the children were saying. At this time, Yi Jing was talking about the delicious food she had eaten in the food-producing areas of the Maldives. Many of these things were things the other children didn't even know about, and they were very confused. "What? A whole head of dried abalone? This is too much." But the teacher behind him knew about this thing. He was stunned when he heard it and was immediately envious. Although she knew this, she was also well aware of the luxury involved, but after listening to what these little guys said, it seemed as if it was not worth mentioning at all. But the most impressive thing for us was the lunar eclipse we saw earlier. Here, Yi Xia was talking to other children about the lunar eclipse they had seen before, which immediately attracted the attention of all the children. "Xia Xia, what is this lunar eclipse? It sounds amazing. Dad told us that a lunar eclipse is caused by the movement of the moon. It is a natural astronomical phenomenon. This is because the moon moves into the shadow of the Earth, and then a lunar eclipse will be seen in the area between the Earth and the moon. The reason is actually very simple. It's because at this time, the middle area will be blocked by the Earth because of the sunlight, so it looks like the moon is missing a piece." At this time, not only were the children listening with great interest and feeling that they had learned a lot, but even the teacher couldn't help but sigh with emotion. It seems that staying with their father Yixian is much better than staying in school. This is the true meaning of reading thousands of books and traveling thousands of miles. The knowledge and experience of these children have far surpassed their peers. Ding ding ding. After a while, the class bell rang on time, and the teacher quickly reminded the students to return to their seats. "Students, class is about to start. Everyone, please go back to your seats and take out your books." "Okay, teacher." The children were well behaved and immediately returned to their seats, sitting upright and taking out their books to prepare for class. Here, the children started the class as usual. After a while, the head teacher walked in. In an instant, the attention of these little ones, who had originally been distracted, was instantly drawn to the teacher, and they all blinked their little eyes at him. "Children, I may need your help to deal with the weeds on the playground. It rained not long ago, and now many weeds have grown. Let's get started." "Now, teacher?" The children were still a little confused, but the excitement in their eyes betrayed their inner feelings. After all, compared to attending classes, weeding on the playground is definitely more fun. This is the nature of children. "Yes, right now, everyone hurry out, we have to hurry." The head teacher smiled and nodded. For a moment, the children in the classroom almost jumped up and ran outside excitedly. They waved their little hands and babbled all the way, making the teachers and the head teacher burst into laughter. Great! I don't have to go to class anymore. Hee hee. What we like most is working. Yi Jing, Yi Xia, let's go. Do we need to bring some gadgets? However, for children at this stage, imparting knowledge in cultural subjects is certainly important, but labor education is also indispensable. In less than a moment, all the children had run out of the classroom. The head teacher hurriedly caught up and stopped the children who were running around. Wait, kids. We still have to get the tools. Oh. I almost forgot. As a result, the children stopped and followed the class teacher obediently, and went to the utility room to find some suitable tools. Huh? What is this? She squatted in the corner of the utility room, rummaging around, and suddenly found a small hoe. Hey, this must be suitable for weeding. After seeing clearly what it was, she wiped the dust off it with great joy and felt it was very comfortable in her hand. After a while, the other little ones also found suitable tools for their own use, and followed the main group to the playground. Children, let's gather together first. The teacher will say a few words to you first. But before officially starting to weed, the class teacher gathered all the children together. After all, they were still very young and needed to be reminded about safety issues. Well, today, teacher, I am very happy to see that all the students are very active, and I am very proud of you. But before you start weeding, the teacher still wants to give you a few words of advice. No matter whether we can complete the work today or not, safety comes first. Students cannot pull weeds with their hands. You must use the small tools you have, because some weeds are very sharp and can hurt you if you are not careful. And students should also pay attention to whether there are other students around when using tools, and make sure not to hurt other students. Do you understand? Teacher, we got it. The children answered in loud voices, and now they couldn't wait any longer, rubbing their hands and getting ready to do something big. Okay. Let's get started. Yeah. We can finally start. Then, all the children rushed to move, waving the tools in their hands, and began to clear the weeds in the entire playground. Yi Yun and Yi Zi were clearing the weeds around the playground together. They were searching with great energy and muttering to themselves while doing so. Little grass, little grass. Although you are very cute, for the cleanliness of our campus, we must eradicate you all. Don't be angry. Yes. We will definitely be very gentle and try not to make you feel any pain. You have to cooperate with us too. The head teacher was observing the children everywhere to ensure their safety, but as he was walking, he happened to come across the two of them. Chapter 489 Underestimation. When the head teacher heard the two little guys, Yi Yun and Yi Zi, whispering to the weeds, he didn't know whether to laugh or cry, thinking how could this be so cute? As expected, children are children. These inconspicuous weeds may not be worth mentioning in the eyes of adults. But in the eyes of children, they are also part of this world and are living beings with flesh and blood. They long to talk to them, as if they believed they could understand them. Although they received no response in the end, they still firmly believed it. After looking at it for a few times with a smile, the head teacher saw that there was nothing wrong here and went to observe other children. Speaking of these children, they are very enthusiastic right now. They are working hard and don't feel tired at all. However, after a while, many children still felt sore hands and waists, and their movements were much smaller than before. There were even a few children who were sitting by the flower bed and starting to be lazy, drinking water with gulps, their heads covered with sweat. There is no way, they are still children after all. Even if their energy is unlimited, their physical strength is not. But these are not the things that the class teacher is most worried about. What she is most worried about are Yi Jing and the other little ones. Talking about their academic studies, I have never been worried about them at all. Every day in the office, I can hear teachers of various subjects, even teachers who have only seen a few of the little ones, praising them. Their homework is always the cleanest, their handwriting is the neatest, they are 100% focused in class, and they are also able to actively answer questions. When they meet teachers on campus, no matter whether they are their teachers or not, they will always greet them politely and cutely, and give them a sweet smile. Just imagine, there is no teacher who doesn't like these little cuties who are good at studying, polite and sensible. When they are mentioned, their lips will be full of smiles. But after all, these are all about learning or etiquette, but today is different, this is labor. Not only is the class teacher aware of the family conditions of Yi Jing and the other little ones, everyone in their school, from the faculty and staff to the principal, knows it very well. She can no longer be called a lady from a noble family, she is simply a little princess who was born with a silver spoon in her mouth. The class teacher is always worried about whether they will do such labor, whether they will feel bored, or simply don't like to participate. Given their family background, they don't need to do these chores at all. Isn't this a bit difficult for them? Come on, little guys. The teacher believes you can do it. However, the head teacher still cheered them on in his heart and focused more attention on them. But not long after, the head teacher discovered that something was not right, as if his previous thoughts were just groundless worries. Yi Jing and the other little ones not only use these tools skillfully to weed, but they do it more easily than other children. This kind of work seemed to be just a warm-up for them. After a long while, they still didn't get red in the face or out of breath, and even looked very relaxed. But compared to the other children, many were already exhausted and out of breath, some were drinking water, some were resting. These little guys are really unexpected. The head teacher stared at it blankly, with a smile murmured at the corner of his mouth. That's right, this is exactly what she wanted to see. It seems that she had indeed underestimated them in this place. What she didn't expect was that this was not the end. Yi Jing actually started to organize the classmates to divide the work and cooperate. Because many students had already rested on the side, the weeds they had dealt with were gathered together, and the scene looked a bit messy. So Yi Jing simply thought of dividing the students into different groups and making them responsible for different tasks. In this way, both efficiency and other aspects would be greatly improved. Xiaoxi and Xiaoxia, you can form a group with students who are a little tired. You don't have to be responsible for weeding. Just clean up the weeds that have been uprooted. Xiaozi, Xiaoyun, you and I will form a team with other students, and we will be responsible for the main weeding work. Yi Jing was like a little adult at this moment, directing everyone in an orderly manner. They were quickly divided into two groups, responsible for different tasks. Okay. We'll listen to squad leader Yi Jing. The classmates were all very convinced by Yi Jing, and they all tacitly carried out the plan proposed by Yi Jing. As a result, the efficiency and speed of the entire weeding work have been qualitatively improved. Even the weeds that have been cleared by special students. And it must be said that no matter what the Yi Jing girls are responsible for, they work much harder than other students. Yi Jing, who was in the lead, was now covered in sweat, but he still insisted on staying at his post, not daring to stop for a moment. She knew that she was the class monitor and played a leading role, so no matter what, she had to do her best so that she could lead others. The other little ones have the same temperament as their sister Yi Jing. If they are going to do something, they must do it to the best of their ability. No one is lazy or slacking off. The sun began to rise gradually and the weather became much hotter, but the children were still full of energy and put all their energy into weeding the school playground. The other children were also unknowingly inspired by the atmosphere created by Yi Jing and the other girls. It seemed as if they had endless energy. No matter who they worked harder. The head teacher was filled with emotion when he saw this scene. He could hardly believe that these half-grown children had such execution and cohesion. Of course, she also knew that all this was thanks to Yi Jing and the other girls. It was because of their leadership that the students were so motivated. Alas, it seems that I have underestimated these children. The head teacher couldn't help but feel ashamed. Thinking about his previous worries, he found them a bit ridiculous. He couldn't help but look at Yi Jing and the other little guys in a different light. With such a family and such a background, they can still achieve such excellence in all aspects. This is definitely not something that can be shaped by just school education. This is definitely mostly due to their family education. It seems that Mr. Yi has devoted a lot of effort to their education. As their class teacher, she just felt that these little ones had far surpassed other children of their age in terms of learning ability and knowledge reserves. Chapter 490 Active. But judging from the current situation, they cannot be compared with children of the same age even in terms of organizational and labor abilities. What kind of horrible family education can shape such a child? Even I, a frontline class teacher who has been engaged in education for many years, have to reflect on it. While the head teacher was still sighing and thinking in his heart, all the children were still weeding in full swing as usual. Captain Yi Jing, we have already dealt with all the weeds here, let us help you. Yes, no problem. Other students who are responsible for cleaning the floor, please pay attention and make sure to clean it up thoroughly, just like we clean the classroom. Don't worry, squad leader Yi Jing, we will definitely clean it well and make sure it is spotless. Here, the students have become more and more skilled. Those in charge of weeding no longer take half a day to remove a single weed. Instead, they remove every weed they see. The students who were cleaning up the weeds that had been dug out were also sweeping up the dust with brooms and throwing all the dirt and debris into the garbage recycling area on the side. Some students completed the work at hand and went back to see if other places needed help. No one was idle. However, at this moment, a little boy who was in charge of weeding on Yi Jing's side was about to pick up a hoe to remove a lush weed under his feet, but Yi Jing suddenly shouted to stop. "Wait a minute. There's a little flower here." Following Yi Jing's voice, the little boy stopped what he was doing, and then he discovered that there was a small yellow flower blooming next to the weed. Yi Jing hurriedly walked forward and looked at the flowers at her feet with fondness, with starlight twinkling in her eyes, as if she had glimpsed the beauty of the whole world from the small flower. "The little flower is innocent. I'll pluck it first. This way, at least it can bring its beauty to more people instead of being chopped into pieces by the hoe." Yi Jing gently picked the small yellow flower, put it to her nose and smelled it gently, and immediately felt a burst of floral fragrance blooming. Seeing this, the little boy smiled and nodded, then continued with the weeding work at hand. Yi Jing admired the flowers in her hand for a while, and then she realized that these brightly colored flowers were blooming in many places where weeds were growing around them. "Yi Xia, Yi Shi, and Yi Yun, Yi Zi, please pay attention to the small flowers under your feet. We can collect them and they will definitely look beautiful." Without thinking twice, Yi Jing quickly told her other sisters that they could collect these beautiful flowers while weeding. "Yes, we got it. Don't worry, Sister Yi Jing." The other little guys nodded when they heard this and began to pay attention to these flowers. When clearing the weeds, they also consciously paid attention to picking and collecting them. "Let us help you collect them. Yes, we must unite. As long as squad leader Yi Jing says so, we will help together. These little flowers are really beautiful. If we collect them into a small bouquet, they will be even more beautiful." Similarly, the other children also started to collect together, but they did not slack off on the main task of weeding. Just like that, after a short while, with a shovel from Yi Jing's side, the last weed broke through the soil. In this way, the entire weeding task was successfully completed, and the little guys also collected a few handfuls of brightly colored flowers. "Yeah! We finally did it! Now the playground is clean again. Did we really do this together? I can't believe it. It turns out that labor is such a fulfilling thing. I want to work more often in the future." The children happily raised their tools and danced to celebrate the complete success. The head teacher at the side also walked towards them with a smile. "You guys are awesome. You're such a proud teacher. Every child deserves to perform today." The head teacher immediately gave a thumbs up to all the children, and the children who received the praise were even more excited. Afterwards, the head teacher looked at Yi Jing and the other little ones, his face filled with deep affection, and said sweetly, "But today the teacher still wants to praise Yi Jing and the others. They were the most focused and hard-working during the entire labor process. And their organizational skills are also seen by everyone. Not only did they lead the students to clear the weeds here, but they also cleaned the playground so cleanly. This is the credit of Yi Jing and her classmates, and also the credit of every student. Let's give a round of applause to yourselves and Yi Jing and her classmates." As soon as the head teacher finished speaking, there was warm applause at the scene. The children's faces were filled with relaxation and joy, and they were proud of themselves and Yi Jing and the other girls. "Team leader Yi Jing, you guys are the best. You guys have made a lot of contributions today." "Yes. Yi Jing and Yi Xia, you are so amazing. I admire you so much. I am so happy today. We have done something very meaningful together." For a moment, the children kept praising Yi Jing and the other little ones, and felt unforgettable for everything their group had accomplished today. However, when the children were dancing and celebrating, the head teacher did not forget to remind the children. "Ahem. Okay, classmates, we have almost finished celebrating. Now put your tools back, wash your hands, and go to the classroom to rest for a while. We still have classes to attend later." "Okay, teacher. Let's go right away." The children nodded obediently in unison, then held hands, hummed little songs and ran towards the utility room where the tools were stored. After putting their things away and washing their hands, the children returned to the classroom immediately, took out the textbooks for the next class, and sat in their seats with peace of mind. The head teacher watched quietly outside the classroom with a smile on his face. These children are so sensible. In the following time, the children focused their attention on the classroom again. I don't know if it was because of the motivation of labor, but the children in the classroom today were also unusually active. Both their concentration and enthusiasm in answering questions gave teachers of various subjects a big surprise. Since students love to listen, teachers are naturally happy to teach. The atmosphere of today's class makes both children and teachers feel at ease. As time passed, it was soon time to go home from school. The crisp bell rang and the teacher on the stage stopped his lecture. Chapter 491 Goodbye. Kids, it's time to go home from school. See you tomorrow. Goodbye, teacher. On this sunny and comfortable afternoon, Yi Jing and other little ones quickly packed their school bags, hurried out of the classroom and came outside the school. They were holding several bouquets of flowers that they had collected earlier and were looking for Yi Xian everywhere. Daddy's there. I see Daddy. Soon, Yi Xi excitedly pointed to the other side, where Yi Xian was leaning against the extended custom version of the Rolls-Royce, waving at the children lovingly. Dad! We're here! All of a sudden, several little ones ran out and came to Yi Xian one by one, which made the parents around them couldn't help but laugh. Oh my! Whose cute baby is this? It's so adorable. Yeah, I don't know about that, Dad. He is so lucky to have a few cute little ones like him. Hey! These kids look so familiar. I can't remember them, but they are so cute and pretty. For a moment, as many parents' attention was focused on the little ones, they were smiling and handing the flowers in their hands to Yi Xian. Dad, this is for you. These are the flowers we picked at the school playground. Dad, these flowers smell so good, do you want to smell them? Hee hee. It's great to see Daddy as soon as I go out. The children handed the flowers to Yi Xian, and then rushed into Yi Xian's arms, making the parents around them envious. Ah, you girls. Let's go home. Yeah. I want Daddy to carry me in the car. Okay. Then today Daddy will hug you one by one. Dad, we love you. You're the best dad in the world. After playing for a while, Yi Xian carried the little guys one by one into the car and took them back home. Mom! Sister Long Ling! We have prepared a surprise for you. As soon as I walked into the house, a few little ones called Wang Xiniao and Long Ling in their baby voices and handed the remaining flowers to them. Thank you, my baby. Mommy loves it. Ha, follow Sister Long Ling, I'll help you deal with these flowers. Wang Xiniao took the flowers with a smile, and Long Ling beside her was also very happy. Then, like a child, she led the little ones to find a vase to put the flowers in. In the evening, after the children finished their dinner, they were whispering about something. When they finished their discussion, Yi Jing took the lead and came to Long Ling. Hey, good evening, Sister Long Ling. A few little guys winked at Long Ling, but Long Ling's face was full of questions. He wondered if these little guys were up to something bad again. You little guys, what are you going to do now? Sister Long Ling, we need your help. The girls acted coquettishly and snuggled into Long Ling's arms, blinking their little eyes and saying with a smile. Sister Long Ling, we are about to take the exam, can you help us review math? This. The corner of Long Ling's mouth twitched, and he looked at the little guys helplessly, wailing softly in his heart. Oh my God. I am a super business genius girl with an IQ of 180, but now I have fallen to the point of teaching elementary school mathematics? Sister Long Ling, why don't you say anything? Could it be that Sister Long Ling doesn't know our math problems? That's impossible. Then we can only go find Dad. Seeing that Long Ling didn't speak for a long time, the little ones looked at her with some confusion, and even worried that this request was too difficult for Sister Long Ling. Hearing what the kids said, Long Ling couldn't sit still any longer. My goodness, even if he was underestimated, it shouldn't be like this, right? Ahem. What are you thinking about, little guys? Your Sister Long Ling is very powerful, okay? Come on. Great. I told you Sister Long Ling is okay. The children nodded happily, and quickly found some questions and knowledge points that they didn't know how to answer from their school bags, and placed them all in front of Long Ling. Long Ling was not vague at all. She explained it to the children one by one and also taught them some special methods. See? This type of question can be calculated this way. Isn't it less complicated? Yeah. Sister Long Ling is so amazing. Our teacher hasn't even told us this method. The children tried the method Long Ling mentioned and got the answer easily. They all found it magical. So afterwards, the children listened much more attentively. In just 1 hour, they felt that they had learned a lot and had a thorough understanding of the previous knowledge. You little guys are quite smart. Not bad, not bad. Long Ling, who was speaking till his mouth was dry, drank some water and gave the children a thumbs up. She really is worthy of being the master's daughter. She is so talented and can basically learn anything she is told. Hee, Sister Long Ling is also very good. We will need Sister Long Ling to teach us in the future. The children also recognized Long Ling and hurriedly digested the new things they had just learned. After that, the children rested for a while and then went to exercise with Yi Xian and learn other things as usual. Today's subject of study is music. Sitting in the living room, Long Ling couldn't help but sigh as she listened to the melodious piano music coming from the open study room nearby. Given the learning abilities of these little guys, and the all-around master teaching them with all his might, how terrifying will things be in the future? Moreover, it is really rare for a child to have such enthusiasm for learning and self-discipline at such a stage when he is already very playful. But in fact, Long Ling also knew that these little ones didn't dislike playing, it's just that the things they liked to play were different. Learning music and playing the piano was very fun for them, and listening to Yi Xian telling some unheard of knowledge is also very fun. Combining education with entertainment is perhaps the best way of education. It is obvious that these little guys are enjoying it. Thinking of this, accompanied by the pleasant piano sound, Long Ling unconsciously closed his eyes and listened attentively. Here, Yi Xian was letting the children take turns playing the songs they had learned before, and he was very satisfied. The children's piano skills have improved 1,000 times compared to when they first started learning, and now they can be said to have achieved some success. Chapter 492, Vastness. That's right. Astronomy. Suddenly, Yi Xian suddenly remembered the night when the children were on the island in Maldives. That time, they showed a strong interest in astronomy, and he saw it too. Yi Xian thought about it and felt that if this was the case, he should do something. Girls, practice on yourselves first. Daddy is going to make a phone call. Yeah, okay, Dad. After giving instructions, Yi Xian walked out of the study and went to the slightly more secluded balcony on the other side. He took out his cell phone and made a call. The next morning, the children all went to class, and several light trucks also arrived at the gate of the villa in a mighty manner. Hearing the noise outside, Yi Xian smiled slightly, knowing that the things he had ordered had arrived, and walked out leisurely. The man in the lead was holding an acceptance form in his hand. When he saw Yi Xian coming out, he quickly came up to greet him warmly. You are Mr. Yi, right? Has the equipment you ordered arrived? Please sign for it. The other party respectfully handed over the form and pen. Yi Xian smiled, nodded, and signed his name. Undoubtedly, according to the records on the list, these are all high-precision stargazing instruments. And these are not ordinary instruments, they are extremely professional equipment and their value is quite high. Okay, Mr. Yi, we can install it for you anytime. The man took back the acceptance form signed by Yi Xian and nodded slightly, but out of curiosity, he still chose to ask one more question. By the way, Mr. Yi, excuse me for asking, what kind of research do you want to do with these instruments? Looking at Yi Xian's decent attire and elegant temperament, coupled with such a luxurious and quiet villa, the man had already preconceived that Yi Xian was an astronomer. And if it weren't for this, they wouldn't have ordered such high-end and expensive equipment. If it were a laboratory with less funds, it would probably be difficult to order one or two of them. Even Yi Xian rarely sees someone like him, and he is even more curious about what it is used for. It's not really for research, it's mainly for the kids. Children are quite interested in astronomy, so I thought that using these devices could help them see farther. Forehead. Unexpectedly, after hearing what Yi Xian said, the other party was stunned. He stood there with the signature pen and acceptance form in his hands, and he didn't know how long he had been standing there. Oh my God. I bought so many things just to show them to my kids. This is too cruel. He is the one who is in charge of the sales and transportation this time. No one knows the value of these things better than him. This includes not only some top-level high-frequency astronomical telescopes, but also NASA-specific radiation receivers, planetariums, GPS systems. A complete set of equipment like this can be directly equipped into a large astronomical station. But Yi Xian, who was standing in front of him, bought these things not for research, but just because the children were interested in astronomy. The man was completely dumbfounded, and couldn't help thinking to himself that it was a good thing that he was just interested in astronomy. He was 200% sure that if the children were interested in weapons, Yi Xian would even get them an arsenal. This is no longer something that can be described as heroic, it is simply outrageous. Okay, Mr. Yi. We will install it for you right away. I hope you and your children will like it. After a long time, the man finally reacted with a trembling voice, and quickly asked the installers to remove the equipment and install it. Because they all knew that this was an important customer, the installers and men did not dare to neglect it. They carefully unloaded the equipment and then assembled and installed it meticulously. When it was night, Yi Xian went to pick up the little ones from school. Along the way, the little ones were very impatient. Because I had told them there was a little surprise before they got on the bus, and then the children started to act coquettishly and ask about it. But no matter what, Yi Xian just smiled and didn't say anything, so the children's appetite was really whetted. We're finally home. Where's the surprise you mentioned, Dad? As soon as they got off the bus, the children started searching all the way with their small school bags on their backs, their bright eyes wide open, not wanting to miss a single corner. Okay, follow me. Yi Xian rubbed the children's heads lovingly, and then took them directly to a large room on the top floor of the villa. It's right here. Come in and take a look. Aha! The children were so excited that they were speechless. They quickly pushed the door open and saw that the room was filled with stargazing equipment. Wow! What a big telescope! I think I can even see the small hill on the moon. Dad! Why does this place look like a research institute? So interesting and cool. Hee hee. These are used to look at the stars, right? They must be very interesting. Looking at the room full of instruments, the children's faces were all flushed with excitement, and they looked here and touched there. Girls, come here, Daddy will show you the stars with this. Yi Xian waved his hand and asked the children to come to the astronomical telescope. He adjusted the equipment casually and let the children watch it one by one. Oh my God! What a beautiful starry sky! Suddenly, the children saw a beautiful starry sky beyond words. Countless stars were emitting light of varying intensities, as if they were blinking at them. Girls, we are standing on the Earth, but we can see no less than 6,000 or 7,000 stars. And do you know? Maybe at this very moment when we are talking, a star will be destroyed, and another star will be born. The universe has evolved through extinction and rebirth. You still have a lot to learn. While the children were looking at the stars, Yi Xian also explained the corresponding knowledge. They were all listening attentively. At this moment, it was as if they were in the Milky Way, feeling the mystery of the starry sky and the vastness of the universe. Finally, as time passed, it was time to go to bed, but the girls' thoughts were still lingering on the starry sky. Their eyes, as bright as starlight, are full of curiosity and desire to explore everything in the sky above their heads, and they record every star observed with instruments. Chapter 493 Long Ling is gone. Yi Xian was very pleased to see the children so serious. Although these little guys are young, their desire for knowledge is quite strong. Okay girls, it's almost time for today, it's time for you to go to bed and rest. After looking at the current time, Yi Xian did not let the girls continue and reminded them that it was time to go to bed. This couldn't help but make their faces look disappointed, as they all felt they hadn't seen enough and wanted to continue appreciating the charm of the endless starry sky. Yi Shi looked at Yi Xian eagerly. Although she wanted to continue watching the stars, she knew that it was time to rest, so she could only speak in a low voice timidly. Dad, how about we go camping in the yard? Camping? Why would we want to camp out of nowhere? Although Yi Xian was confused, he still squatted down and asked patiently. Dad, if we sleep in the yard, won't we be able to see the sky all night long? The other girls also became interested. Knowing that it was useless for Xiaoxi to say it alone, they had to act coquettishly to Yi Xian together and gently shook Yi Xian's arm. Dad, Xiaoxi's idea is very good. Just think about it, it must be very romantic for us to fall asleep under the starry sky. We can just cover ourselves thicker then, and we won't get sick. Dad, just agree to our request. Otherwise, we won't be able to sleep well in the house. Looking at these little guys with rosy faces and shining eyes, Yi Xian's mouth twitched, thinking that these little guys are getting better and better at this. Ahem, no, you guys should stay in your room and sleep well today. But he still didn't agree to them. If they got a taste of the sweetness, they would be in for even greater trouble in the future. Besides, it's quite cool outside at night, and it would be bad if you catch a cold. No, Dad. Just think about it, okay? But the girls were still unwilling to go into the house and sleep, and continued to pout and beg Yi Xian. There's nothing to think about. It's too cold outside. Just stay in the house and sleep. Be obedient. After refusing again, Yi Xian saw that the girls were still motionless, smiled bitterly and shook his head, then reached out to grab them and take them back to the house to sleep. Run! Dad is going to catch us. Unexpectedly, as soon as Yi Xian stretched out his hand, Yi Jing led her sisters to run out. Yi Xian stood there with empty hands, looking at the girls' backs as they trotted out, feeling so embarrassed that he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. But it seems that if they don't go out for a walk tonight, they really won't be able to sleep. Thinking about this, Yi Xian did not continue to chase them. He could only catch them back after they ran for a while. About 15 minutes later, Yi Xian led Wang Xinyao and Long Ling to the yard and asked them to help catch the little guys. Dad brought Mom and sister Long Ling to catch us. Run! Dad is bullying people, how can he ask for help? Hee. This is so fun. However, these girls thought it was very fun and they spread out their little feet and ran around in the courtyard, giving Yi Xian and his friends a headache just watching them. However, Yi Xian couldn't bear to beat or scold these little ones, and the same went for Wang Xinyao. Long Ling even treated them as her own sisters. So everyone had no choice but to bite the bullet and catch them one by one, and it took a while before they were able to catch them back to the room. After the farce died down, the children lay in bed under the quilt, still giggling. Even though they were caught, they still had a lot of fun. Okay, I'm really impressed by you little guys. You should go to sleep now. All of you stop giggling and cover yourself with the quilt quickly. Don't kick it off. Yi Xian sat next to the girls, tidied their quilts and coaxed them to go to sleep quickly. Dad, tell us a good story. I don't know why, but the little girls are so energetic today. They toss and turn and can't fall asleep, and they keep asking Yi Xian to tell them stories. Okay, as long as you listen, Daddy can tell you as many stories as you want. Yi Xian smiled dotingly, rubbed the girls' playful faces, and softly told them their favorite fairy tales. Time ticked by slowly, and under the hypnosis of Yi Xian's story, the girls gradually closed their eyes and heard soft breathing sounds. After seeing that all the girls were sleeping soundly, Yi Xian felt relieved. He tidied up the quilts that had been kicked over a little for them again, then closed the door and walked out. These little guys are finally asleep. Walking out of the door, Yi Xian shook his head helplessly. Although he looked a little tired, there was more happiness on his face. With a smile, Yi Xian was about to go back to his room to rest, but suddenly he saw that the light in Long Ling's room was still on. This girl, why isn't she sleeping yet? Seeing this, Yi Xian walked to the door of Long Ling's room and knocked gently. Long Ling, can I come in? Yeah, master, I haven't slept yet. After getting permission, Yi Xian pushed the door open. Long Ling was still on the phone. She spoke a few words hurriedly and then hung up. What's wrong, Long Ling? What are you doing? Yi Xian glanced at Long Ling, who had just hung up the phone in a hurry, and asked with some confusion. Master, I was just dealing with something. There are some things in the team here that require me to go overseas to handle. Long Ling sighed and continued. Well, so I have to leave tomorrow morning, and I've already booked my flight. I see. Yi Xian nodded, thinking that it wasn't long until morning. He felt a little sorry for Long Ling and sat on a chair beside her. Why are you leaving in such a hurry? Is the situation over there so urgent? That's not the case, master. I just think it's better not to let the little ones know. They still have to go to school. If they know I'm gone, they won't know how to cry and make a fuss. Long Ling smiled gently, which was very different from her usual non-serious self. She talked about the little ones and felt very reluctant to leave. During this period of time, the little ones have already regarded her as an older sister with whom they can talk about anything, and she likes these little ones very much. Now that I am about to leave, besides being reluctant to leave Yi Xian and Wang Xinyao, what I am most worried about are the little ones. She was worried that if she left too late, she might really cry when they got up. Chapter 494 Young People. I see. Yi Xian nodded, knowing that Long Ling had to leave now. Since the matter that required her to deal with must be quite important. Then you go there by yourself. Be careful in everything you do. If you have any questions, contact Master. Don't feel embarrassed. When you have time, come to Master again. Those girls must miss you all the time. Anyway, I won't say any more. You are no longer the crybaby you used to be. I believe you will make your own decisions when you encounter problems. Before leaving, Yi Xian gave a few more instructions. Long Ling was also one of his favorite disciples among all his disciples. Although his temper was a little cold in the past, at least Yi Xian never hesitated to show his concern for Long Ling and the others. Maybe it's just a different approach, or maybe he's just not good at saying overly sentimental things. Yes. I understand, Master. You and your wife and sisters are doing well. I will come to see you when I have time. Long Ling's nose felt sore and he felt warm in his heart. He nodded solemnly. After all, in the past, the master would never say such caring words. This feeling is very strange, but it is also really touching. In the past, I felt that Master's care and concern were always hidden in strictness and coldness. Even if I was ignorant before, I could still feel it a lot. But compared to that kind of concern, the warm and direct words like the spring breeze at this moment also made her feel more comfortable. Okay, have a good rest. I won't disturb you anymore. Yeah, good night, Master. Then, Yi Xian stood up and walked out of the room, quietly closing the door. The next morning, Long Ling got up early to pack her things. In addition to a few pieces of clothing and some personal belongings, she also packed some photos from that period. When she came downstairs with her suitcase, she found Yi Xian was already waiting there. Have you packed it up yet? Then I'll take you there. Seeing that his master had specially stood up to see him off, Long Ling's eyes flashed with a trace of burning emotion, and then he walked lightly to Yi Xian with his luggage. When walking out of the villa gate in the manor, the driver arranged by Yi Xian for Long Ling had been waiting for a while. Get in the car, give me your luggage. After taking Long Ling's luggage, Yi Xian personally helped Long Ling stuff it into the trunk, then opened the car door and handed Long Ling a lunchbox. This is the breakfast prepared for you, take it and eat it on the way. Master, I. Seeing everything Yi Xian did for her silently, Long Ling's eyes sparkled with crystal tears. She wanted to say something, but her throat choked. Okay, you're a grown-up girl now, stop crying. Be safe on the road. Yi Xian smiled, closed the car door casually, and stood aside. Well. Take care, Master. After so many words, the only thing left was to take care. The companion in Long Ling's hand was warm, just like her heart at the moment. After watching Long Ling leave, Yi Xian returned to the house and began to prepare breakfast for the girls. But just when breakfast was ready and Yi Xian was about to wake up the maids, he saw Yi Jing running out in a hurry. Dad! Dad! Yi Jing's face was full of anxiety. When she saw Yi Xian coming over, she threw herself into Yi Xian's arms. What's wrong, Jingjing? What happened? Seeing this, Yi Xian frowned, and while comforting Yi Jing, he asked about what happened. Dad, Xiaoxi seems to have a fever. Her head is so hot. You should go and check it out. Fever? Hearing this, Yi Xian's heart skipped a beat and he quickly pulled Yi Jing into the room. In the room, the remaining girls had already put on their clothes, only Xiaoxi was still lying on the bed. The other girls were also taking care of Xiaoxi, but she was still young after all, and there was nothing they could do, they could only stand by and worry. Xiaoxi. Daddy is here. You don't feel well, do you? Seeing this scene, Yi Xian quickly stood up and came to Xiaoxi, stroking Xiaoxi's forehead anxiously. Dad, I feel dizzy and my body is hot. It's really uncomfortable. Yi Xi opened her eyes and looked at Yi Xian weakly, even her voice became much softer at this moment. Alas! It is indeed a fever. Relying on Yi Xian's experience, he only took a quick look at the situation and then tested the temperature on Xiaoxi's forehead and came to this conclusion. I told you not to run around last night. Now you know you were wrong. Dad, we know we were wrong. Hearing this, the other girls also lowered their heads, especially Yi Jing, the elder sister, who felt so guilty that she almost cried. Okay, this is a lesson for you. You must remember it in the future. It's just that Xiaoxi can't go to school today. Dad will call the teacher later. Yi Jing, take your sisters to wash up. Yi Xian sighed, but did not continue to blame the girls. He just arranged for Yi Jing and the others to wash up, have breakfast, and get ready to go to school. Okay, Dad. We know we were wrong. The girls nodded, and Yi Jing led them out first, while Yi Xian stayed in the room to take care of Yi Xi. Afterwards, after Yi Xian sent the children to school, he hurried to a nearby Chinese medicine shop to get some medicine for Yi Xi. Because it was morning, there was not much business. The middle-aged shopkeeper was tidying up the cabinet at the counter. It was not until Yi Xian walked up to him that he realized someone had come. Sorry. I didn't notice it just now. What disease are you seeing? What are the symptoms? Looking up at Yi Xian, the shopkeeper smiled awkwardly and asked for information about the disease as usual. Nothing serious, just a cold and a fever. Oh, wait a moment. The shopkeeper nodded, then took out a pen and paper to write a prescription, but just as he was ready, Yi Xian suddenly spoke. Shopkeeper, just give me a prescription of 6G honeysuckle, 6G burdock seeds, 3G cicada shells, 15G Isatis leaf, 6G scutularia root, 6G bamboo leaf, 5G gypsum, 8G licorice, 6G siler, and 6G astragalus. Pack 10 servings for me according to this recipe. It's better to keep a few at home for future use. By the way, please give me half a pound of antelope horn powder. That's all. For a moment, the shopkeeper was stunned holding the paper and pen, thinking carefully about the prescription, and suddenly his eyes lit up. This person is definitely an expert among experts. He can actually dictate the Chinese medicine and dosage so quickly. Since the opening of this pharmacy, I have never seen a customer with such strong professional abilities, but I didn't expect it to be such a young man in front of me. Chapter 495 Visit. Okay, wait a moment. The shopkeeper agreed without hesitation. He quickly packaged the Chinese medicine according to Yi Xian's instructions and handed it to Yi Xian. My dear friend, are you studying Chinese medicine? The prescription you just gave is too professional. To be honest, I can't be so accurate. After delivering the medicinal materials and settling the bill, the shopkeeper couldn't help but give Yi Xian a thumbs up. This was indeed not something that ordinary people could do. Shopkeeper, you are overpraising me. I only know a little bit about it. Yi Xian smiled slightly, didn't say anything more, put away the herbs and turned around and left. The owner of the drugstore secretly wrote down the prescription that Yi Xian had dictated before on a piece of paper, and when he had nothing to do in the store, he would take it and read it. He had only listened briefly before and thought there was nothing wrong with it, but now that he was examining it more carefully, the shopkeeper couldn't help but be more shocked. This is definitely a prescription that only true experts would use, as it perfectly neutralizes the medicinal properties of various medicines. And the antelope horn powder that is needed last but not least, if used together with this medicine, it will have a miraculous effect. Now this young man. After looking for a long time, the shopkeeper finally sighed, took off his glasses, and stared silently in the direction of the drugstore entrance. Here, as soon as Yi Xian got the medicine, he went back home immediately and started to make medicine for Yi Shi. After it was cooked, Yi Xian put it in a small bowl and handed it to Yi Jing, who was resting in the room. In order to ensure that it does not taste bitter, Yi Xian also added licorice to the recipe, and of course also used other medicinal herbs to neutralize it. Therefore, this bowl of Chinese medicine, while removing the bitterness, can also ensure the mildness of the medicinal effect and reduce the physical burden on Yi Shi after drinking it. Xiaoxi, Daddy made some medicine for you, come and drink it while it's hot. Sitting at the head of Yi Shi's bed, Yi Xian gently blew on the medicine soup in the spoon to cool it down, and then put it into Yi Shi's mouth. Dad, this bowl of medicine soup looks black. Will it be bitter? But Yi Shi was a little worried that the Chinese medicine would taste bitter, so she asked Yi Xian first. Don't worry, Xiaoxi, this medicine is not bitter at all. Yi Xian smiled gently and shook his head. Worried that Xiaoxi wouldn't believe it, he took a sip himself. Look, Xiaoxi, Daddy drank it all, it's not bitter at all. Yeah. Then Xiaoxi will be fine too. Yi Xian's action undoubtedly gave Yi Shi a great sense of security, so she drank it down boldly. It's delicious. After drinking, Yi Shi licked her tongue, as if she was still unsatisfied, and looked at Yi Xian eagerly. Dad, this Chinese medicine tastes so good. Can I drink it again later? Silly girl, this must depend on whether your illness can be cured. As long as you are cured, you don't need to drink anymore. Yi Xian was amused by Yi Shi. He didn't know what to say, but judging from Xiaoxi's mental state, it seemed that she had indeed improved a lot. It's so nice to have Dad around. Just when Yi Xian was distracted, Yi Shi giggled and kissed Yi Xian on the face. Ah! But for some reason, Yi Shi actually scared herself, which made Yi Xian a little confused, and he asked with concern. Xiaoxi, what's wrong with you? Are you feeling uncomfortable anywhere else? Without Dad, I made a mistake again. Unexpectedly, Yi Shi suddenly hung her head, her voice became much softer, and she looked at Yi Xian with guilt. Xiaoxi, isn't everything fine? What happened? Tell Daddy. The more this happened, the more worried Yi Xian became, and he asked again. Daddy, I shouldn't have kissed you just now. Xiaoxi is already sick, and she still kisses Dad like this. What if Dad gets infected and becomes sick too? Xiaoxi will be very distressed. I'm sorry, Dad. I wasn't paying attention just now. I don't know what to do. Having said that, the self-blame on Yixi's face became more intense, and Yi Xian couldn't help but burst into laughter. Ha, Xiaoxi, so this is what you're worried about? Don't worry, Dad will be fine. Looking at the panic-stricken look on the little girl's face, Yi Xian thought to himself that this was simply too adorable. And just based on this point alone, it is enough to show Xiaoxi's concern for me. So he felt warm in his heart, and he lowered his head and gave Yishi a gentle kiss on the face. Look, Daddy also kissed Xiaoxi, there's nothing wrong with it. Yeah. Then I feel relieved. Yishi smiled awkwardly. At this time, she was already a little sleepy due to the effect of the medicine. Under Yi Xian's care, she fell asleep again. On the other side, Yi Jing and the others arrived at school and walked into their classroom as usual. Yi Jing. You're here. Seeing this, the other children greeted them enthusiastically, but suddenly they discovered that Yishi seemed to be missing. That's weird. Why didn't Yishi come? Ah. No way, Xiaoxi usually comes with squad leader Yi Jing and the others. 1, 2, 3, 4. There really is one Yishi missing. The rest of the children checked again and found that Yishi had indeed not come, so they hurried forward to ask. Team leader Yi Jing, why didn't Yishi come with you today? Yes. Xiaoxi was always with you guys before. Ah. Is Xiaoxi okay? At this moment, the children were all very concerned about Xiaoxi's problem. Yi Jing put down her school bag and told them about the situation. Everyone, don't worry. Xiaoxi is just feeling a little uncomfortable today. Maybe she can come tomorrow. Yesterday, because we went out to play in the yard at night, Xiaoxi caught a cold. When she woke up in the morning, she had a fever. What? Yishi has a fever? Hearing this, the other children were also stunned, and then they all started to show concern. Team leader Yi Jing, you must tell Yishi to take medicine well. She must get better soon. Yeah. I hope Yishi recovers soon, so she can come back and play with us sooner. Yi Jing and Yi Xia, you should take care of your health too. My parents said that this season is the most prone to illness. Hearing her classmates' concern, Yi Jing smiled and nodded, saying that she would definitely keep it in mind. By the way, how about we go see Yishi together after school today? At this time, a little girl came up with an idea. If she had nothing to do after school, she would go visit Yishi. Chapter 496 Get well soon. That's a good idea. Maybe if we go see Xiaoxi, she will get better soon. Then let's go together after school. I'm so worried about Yishi's situation now. That's great. If everyone goes, Yishi will definitely be very happy. As soon as this idea came out, the children all agreed immediately. After all, they were all worried about Yishi's condition and hoped that she would get better soon. Okay, it would be great if everyone could go. Xiaoxi would definitely be very happy. When Yi Jing and the others saw that their classmates cared about Yishi, they were very touched and nodded in agreement. Children, hurry back to your seats, we are about to start class. While the children were still discussing, the teacher walked into the classroom with a textbook in hand and a smile on his face, and kindly asked the students to return to their seats. Okay, teacher. Because they were only paying attention to Yishi's health, none of the children in the classroom noticed that it was already time for class, and they returned to their seats obediently. However, because they were always worried about Yishi at home, Yi Jing and the others found it difficult to concentrate in class, and they kept looking at the clock on the wall. Especially as the eldest sister, Yi Jing felt very guilty. After all, it was she who took her younger sisters out last night, otherwise Yishi would not have fallen ill. Get out of class is over, kids, take a break. After spending a difficult class like this, Yi Jing led a few sisters to catch up with the teacher who was about to leave the classroom, and said somewhat embarrassedly. Teacher, can you lend us your phone? Xiaoxi is sick and didn't come to school. We are very worried, so we want to call her dad. That's how it is. The teacher felt somewhat worried upon hearing this, and seeing that these girls looked extremely worried, he quickly took out his cell phone and handed it to them. It's okay, call home right away and don't delay the class later. Yeah. Thank you, teacher. After taking the phone and thanking the teacher, Yi Jing quickly dialed Yi Xian's number. After a few beeps, Yi Xian's voice came from the other end. Hello, teacher. What can I do for you? Dad, it's us. We borrowed the teacher's cell phone to call you. When the call was connected, the girls excitedly called Daddy, and then quickly asked about Yishi's situation. Dad, how is Xiaoxi now? Is she feeling better? Hearing the familiar voices of several girls, Yixian was stunned at first, then he smiled and talked about Yishi's current situation. He knew clearly that these little girls couldn't live without each other, so they must be thinking about Yishi all the time. If they are not given a reassuring answer, they probably won't be able to concentrate on the class. Don't worry, Xiaoxi's fever has gone down and she's sleeping now. Just go to class and you'll be fine. It's not a big problem. Dad has already made some medicine for Xiaoxi. She will be fine in no time. You guys, just study hard. Maybe by the time you come back, Xiaoxi will have fully recovered. When Yi Jing and the other girls heard that Yishi was fine, they felt relieved. After talking to Yi Xian for a few more words, they returned the phone to the teacher. Okay, take a break and get ready for the next class. The teacher took the phone and rubbed the girls' little faces one by one, thinking that their chubby looks are so adorable. Thank you, teacher. Goodbye, teacher. The girls smiled with red faces, then turned around and returned to the classroom hand in hand. Oh, this is so cute, I'm so envious. The teacher just kept watching the girls leave until they all entered the classroom, then she turned around and walked towards her office. Ding ding ding. Kids, that's all for today, everyone go home early. Goodbye, teacher. Time flies quickly, and in the blink of an eye, it is time to go home from school in the evening. However, Yi Jing and the other girls felt that today was much longer, mainly because they were still thinking about Yishi. Yi Jing, let's go quickly. I can't wait to see how Xiaoxi is doing. Yeah, Yishi must be waiting for you too, let's pack up and go. Hey, it's finally time to get out of school. We'll be able to see Yishi soon. The children packed their school bags much faster than before and soon left the classroom together. However, they did not rush to the manor immediately, but went to a nearby store to buy some delicious food, preparing to take it to see Yishi. Because Yishi was sick, the children didn't quite know what they could eat and what they couldn't eat, so they were quite cautious when choosing. After buying everything, the children watched the sunset becoming more and more red and setting faster, knowing that it was getting late. So, this large group of children, carrying snacks and small school bags, set off with Yi Jing and a few other girls. At the same time, since drinking the Chinese medicine brewed by Yixian, Yishi in the manor can be said to have slept for almost the whole day. At sunset in the evening, Yishi slowly opened her eyes. Wang Xinyao and Yi Xian were looking at her with a smile. Mom and Dad, how long have I slept? Although Yishi woke up at this moment and felt much better, her body was still very weak, and even her voice was stiff. Little lazy bastard, you've been sleeping for almost a whole day. Yi Xian smiled dotingly and gently stroked Yishi's messy hair. How are you now? Are you still feeling uncomfortable? Dad, I'm not feeling sick now, I just don't have much strength. Xiaoxi smiled and shook her head, even feeling that it was difficult for her to get up. This is normal. Dad will make you some delicious food tonight. Just eat a little bit. Yeah, thanks, Dad. Dad is the best. Yishi smiled sweetly. At this moment, she was lying in a warm bed with her beloved parents beside her. She felt like she was completely wrapped in happiness. Xiaoxi, sit up slowly. Mommy has poured you a glass of water. Drink it slowly. Here, Wang Xinyao came to the bow with a cup of warm water with a pink straw stuck in it. After all, Yishi slept for so long and didn't wake up in the middle, so now she must replenish some water properly. Chapter 497 Tempting. Okay, Mom. Yishi nodded in a baby voice, slowly moved and sat up, only then did she feel the dry mouth. Slow down, Xiaoxi, don't choke. With the care of Yi Xian and Wang Xinyao, Xiaoxi felt quite comfortable even though her body had not fully recovered yet. However, after being awake for a while, Yishi began to worry about her sisters. Today, her father had no time to pick them up because he had to take care of himself. Dad, when will Sister Yi Jing and the others come back? It seems to be very late now. It's okay, Xiaoxi. Uncle Tang Hao will pick them up today. Xiaoxi, just take a good rest. They should be here soon. Yi Xian comforted Yishi, raised his watch to check the current time, and thought that it should be about time. At this moment, there was a sudden sound of an engine and a car door opening outside the villa. Yi Xian asked Wang Xinyao to take care of Yishi first, and got up and walked out. Why are there 4 cars? But as soon as he opened the door, even Yi Xian was a little stunned. There were actually 4 cars parked in front of the gate of the manor. In addition to the extended customized version of Rolls-Royce that he usually drives to pick up and drop off the children, there are also 3 luxury cars of different specifications. Dad. We're back. Here, Yi Jing and a few girls just got off the car and ran towards Yi Xian excitedly, with no less than a dozen children behind them. Ha, why are all your friends here? Yi Xian looked at this large group of children. Although he was a little caught off guard, he really liked seeing these cute children. Dad, they are all here to see Xiaoxi. Yi Jing and several girls crowded in Yi Xian's arms, looked up and blinked at Yi Xian. The children standing at the back couldn't help but feel a little restrained when they got here. Some of them had been here before, while others were here for the first time, but they were all shocked by the luxury of this manor. Wow! Class leader Yi Jing and the others are living so comfortably next to each other. It's so beautiful here. It's like a castle in a fairy tale. I'm so envious of Yi Shi and the others. The place they live in is so beautiful. The children didn't know what this manor meant, they just simply liked this place, but the one they were thinking about in their hearts was still Yi Shi. Here, after Yi Xian and Yi Jing had been intimate with a few girls, they walked up to them with a smile and greeted them kindly. Thank you, kids. I'm glad Xiaoxi has good friends like you. Come in. Yeah. Okay, Uncle Yi. Sorry to bother you, Uncle Yi, let's go in and see Yishi. Hee, Yishi doesn't know we're here yet, let's go give her a big surprise. Seeing Yi Xian being so kind, the children relaxed a lot. After greeting Yi Xian politely, they walked into the villa carrying the snacks they had prepared. Led by Yi Jing and a few maids, they walked into the room in no time. Sister Jingjing, you're back. Yi Shi, who was sitting on the bed, saw her sisters coming and waved excitedly, but suddenly found that a group of classmates had also come behind her. Ah! Everybody is here. This time, Yi Shi was surprised and happy, her eyes widened a lot, and she became energetic instantly. Yeah, we're all here to see you, Xiaoxi. The children smiled innocently, swarmed around Yi Shi, and asked about Yi Shi's current situation with concern. Xiaoxi, are you feeling better now? Do you still have a fever? If that doesn't work, Yi Shi, you can just take another day off. Your grades are so good, it won't hurt to take one more day off. Cici, these are the snacks we brought for you. They are all your favorites. You have to get better soon. Hey, our class can't do without you. The teacher is worried about you too. Yi Shi was lying on the bed, listening to her friends carrying words and looking at the pile of snacks beside her. Her eyes became red. Thank you everyone. Don't worry, I'm fine now. Dad said I just need to rest for a while. I will be back soon to study and play with you all. I miss you all at home today. Undoubtedly, seeing such a scene, Yi Shi was almost moved to tears. Her heart was warm and she even felt stronger. Yi Xian leaned against the door and watched this loving scene, a smile on his face, and spoke gently to the children. Kids, thank you for coming to visit Xiaoxi today. I'll go cook for you now. Let's all eat here today. Don't be polite. Well, thank you for your help, Uncle. The children nodded and continued chatting with Yi Shi. At night, the darkness had enveloped the entire earth, but the manor was brightly lit. With the company of her sisters and classmates, Yi Shi recovered quickly and was able to get out of bed and move around. Just when Yi Shi, Yi Jing, and a few other girls were preparing to take their friends on a thorough tour of the manor, Wang Xinyao walked out of the kitchen. Children, go wash your hands and get ready. We'll be eating soon. Okay, Auntie. Mom, let's go now. When the children heard that it was time for dinner, their stomachs started to growl, so they quickly washed their hands and sat at the long table in the restaurant waiting. Some of the children who had been to the manor before knew that Yi Xian's cooking was delicious, and they also told other children who had not been there about it. So now they were all looking forward to it, but they were still waiting politely and obediently. Alright kids. Let's eat. Within a few minutes, Yi Xian and Wang Xinyao brought up the food one by one. Because many children came today, and Yi Xian also promised Yi Shi to make more delicious food, the total amount is a lot more than usual. The dishes on the table are so diverse and there is everything, even some of them that you can't usually eat. No matter it is flying in the sky, running on the ground, or swimming in the water, all are presented with perfect color, aroma, and taste under Yi Xian's superb cooking skills. Wow! Uncle Yi is so awesome. He's even better than the chef at the restaurant. It smells so good. This is so rich. Uncle Yi is so kind. Team leader Yi Jing and the others eat these every day. They are so happy. The children were drooling at the sight of the delicious food covering the entire long table. The smell alone was tempting enough. Chapter 498. You're welcome. You're welcome, kids. Just treat it like you're at home and eat more. Yi Xian warmly and kindly invited the children to start eating, but he also brought a bowl of Gastrodia elata pigeon soup specifically for Yi Shi. Xiaoxi, this bowl of soup is specially made for you. It's very nutritious. This is also to take care of Yi Shi's health. Yi Xian has been simmering this bowl of soup on low heat since noon. Thank you, Dad. Okay, drink it. After dinner, Xiaoxi can play with her friends. Yeah. I'm so happy today. Yi Shi grinned, but didn't care about eating herself. She called on other friends to start eating like an adult. Everyone, just relax, let's eat together. Hee hee. My dad's cooking skills are very good, everyone should eat more. I really appreciate everyone coming to visit me today. I feel like I'm getting better faster. The other children were all looking at Yi Shi at this moment. Seeing that Yi Shi's complexion and health had improved a lot, they were happy for her. These kids are so nice. Yi Xian stood aside with his arms around Wang Xinyao, looking at this group of cute children. He felt that the villa was even more lively than usual. Xinyao, let's go inside to eat. If we stay here, these kids might become more reserved. After sighing for a while, Yi Xian whispered in Wang Xinyao's ear that he had also prepared some food in another restaurant. Well, let's go, husband. Wang Xinyao nodded, and the two of them left together, leaving the space entirely to the children. Here, the children were also eating a lot. Yi Xian's food was excellent and they liked every dish very much. Uncle Ya's cooking skills are amazing. Yi Jing and Yi Shi, you are so lucky. This is definitely the best meal I've ever had. It smells so good. My dad took me to a Michelin-starred restaurant before, and we made a reservation. The food was delicious, but it was still far inferior to Uncle Ya's. Just when the children were eating, a beautiful figure suddenly appeared on the road far away from the villa. She was looking at the location of her mobile phone and walking towards the villa step by step, pulling a small suitcase with one hand. Slowly walking to the place where the moonlight was bright, the girl's face was fully revealed. In an instant, the girl's beautiful and flawless angelic face made the stars dim a lot. She was wearing casual clothes, a pair of Bluetooth headphones on her ears, and her petite and perfect cherry lips were biting a lollipop. As she walked, the girl was muttering to herself, with a hint of doubt in her gentle and melodious voice. This is really strange. How could junior sister Long Ling mysteriously give me the location of this place? That's not right. Why is Master living here now? The point is, what exactly did this guy mean by his last sentence? The girl broke the lollipop into pieces in one bite, stopped, took out another one from her pocket and bit it, then pouted and shook her head helplessly but cutely. There's no other way, I'll just have to go over there first. As she said that, she continued to walk forward, but in her heart she was confused about Long Ling's words that Master is completely different now. At that moment she shuddered. After all, her master used to be like an iceberg. How different was he now? It's not like I haven't asked Long Ling before, but I don't know what is wrong with this guy. He just refuses to explain clearly and insists that I come here in person. But she had no idea what was going on, so she had no choice but to keep going forward. Inside the manor, the children finished their meal. Because their friends came today, Yi Xian didn't let them continue studying. So they took their friends to stroll around this huge villa and enthusiastically introduced their beloved home. Everyone, look here. This is our usual study room. Dad will teach us many things here. They are all very interesting. Yi Shi led everyone to the study room, which was where they usually studied. Whether they were learning history or ancient Chinese literature with Yi Xian, or learning music, they all did it here. Wow! There's a piano here. It looks so nice. As soon as the other children walked into the study, they were undoubtedly attracted by the piano next to the floor-to-ceiling window. Xiaoxi, can I give it a try? A little girl looked at Yi Shi timidly, wanting to try this piano. Of course. We are good friends. Yi Shi readily agreed, and several children took turns sitting on the piano chair and carefully tried the piano. This piano was specially prepared by Yi Xian for those girls. It is a piano of very high quality. Even the one in the Vienna concert hall can't compare to it. So even if these children just pressed the buttons a few times casually, the sound quality produced was as beautiful as the sound of nature. What a nice voice. Several children couldn't help but be intoxicated by the sound of the strings, but they still felt that the rhythm they played was very messy. Yi Jing and Yi Shi, you must be able to play the piano, right? We don't play well at all, Xiaoxi, you guys should do it. Yi Shi, I heard from Xiao Dan before that you are very good at playing the piano. Can you come and demonstrate it to us? Seeing the invitation from several friends, Yi Shi gladly walked forward and nodded slightly. Okay, then I'll show off my ugliness. As she spoke, Yi Shi sat down in front of the piano skillfully, rolled up her sleeves gracefully and naturally, and began to play. Suddenly, a light and pleasant piano sound was played by Yi Shi's fingertips, and the other friends opened their mouths wide. However, they did not exclaim or applaud, but listened quietly to Yi Shi's performance. Closing their eyes, they seemed to see a beautiful picture in front of their eyes, which slowly constructed itself before their eyes along with the beautiful piano music. For a moment, they seemed to be unaware of the slow passage of time, and were still immersed in the beauty of the instrument. Finally, when Yi Shi finished playing a song, they slowly opened their eyes and burst into thunderous applause. Xiao Shi, you are so amazing. You will definitely become an excellent musician in the future. Ah! Yi Shi, you are my idol. The song just now was so beautiful. Where did you learn this, Yi Shi? You must have had a very good teacher teach you, right? Chapter 499 Someone is coming. But besides being surprised, the children were also very curious about where Yi Shi and her friends learned piano. After all, I usually only saw Yi Shi taking them home, and I never saw them going to any learning institution. Hey, this is what our dad taught us. Yi Shi scratched his head and said with a smile, and the other little girls also nodded. Uncle Yi taught me? This is too powerful. I didn't expect Uncle Yi is not only good at cooking, but also knows so many other things. Oh, right. It seems that your history and astronomy knowledge were all taught to you by Uncle Yi. At this moment, the children admired Yi Shi even more and felt that he knew everything. Afterwards, Yi Shi and several mates took them to continue walking around the study for a while, and then went to the room full of astronomical observation equipment. As soon as the children followed in, they were stunned. Looking at the various observation equipment inside, their young hearts were shocked. No way! Yi Shi Yijing, is Uncle Yi also a scientist? Yes. These instruments look so professional, just like what I saw on TV before. I only know the astronomical telescope, I don't know what the others are. Their first thought was that Yi Xian was a scientist and this place was specifically used for research and experiments. That's not true. These are actually instruments that Dad bought for us to observe the sky. They are for us to learn from. Yi Jing smiled and shook her head, then walked to the largest astronomical telescope, ready to teach the other children how to use these devices. So that's how it is, this is so interesting. Yeah. If I had a little room like this, I wouldn't feel tired even if I stayed here all day. I envy you guys, Uncle Yi is so good to you. The children all liked these instruments very much, and they were very envious of Yi Jing and the others, and envious of Yi Xian for being able to carefully prepare so many fun things for them. He. It doesn't matter. We are all good friends. You can come over whenever you want. That's right. As long as you are willing to come over, we will definitely be very happy. We can also let Dad teach us to play the piano and learn astronomy together. Yi Shi comforted her friends with a smile, and also welcomed them to come over anytime. Yeah, thank you, Xiaoxi. The children were very moved, and then began to learn how to use these devices to observe the sky outside. It just so happened that tonight, the sky outside was cloudless. In addition to the bright moon hanging in the sky, there were also many twinkling stars. Through the astronomical telescope, the children looked at the stars and the moon in the sky with great interest. This is a completely different experience from what they see with their naked eyes. So this is what the stars and the moon look like when you magnify them. How magical. It's so beautiful. I'm so envious of those astronaut uncles that the teacher talked about. I also want to study hard and explore space in the future. Through the tiny telescope, the children's hearts were filled with an endless desire to explore, and they were full of longing for the sky and the universe above their heads. Immersed in using various devices to observe the sky, the children almost forgot everything around them, and time passed by every second. Thanks to the company of her friends, Yi Shi's physical and mental state is now completely different from before, and she has almost recovered the vitality before she got sick. After a long while, when they were tired of playing, the children went to the living room downstairs, sat on the sofa to rest, ate snacks and watched TV. But at this moment, they heard a sudden knock on the door outside. Ha! Someone's knocking on the door. Yi Jing and others looked towards the door in confusion, wondering who could be knocking on the door at this time. Wait! Could it be that Sister Long Ling is back? Yi Shi's eyes suddenly lit up, and she remembered Long Ling who left without saying goodbye this morning. Because Long Ling had come back at this time many times before, so when Yi Shi said this, the other girls also thought of the same thing. Yes. Maybe it's really Sister Long Ling who has returned. Hee hee. That's great. I said Sister Long Ling still can't leave us. Then let's go open the door for Sister Long Ling. As they spoke, the little guys hurriedly trotted towards the door, ready to open the door for Long Ling together. The other children were also busy, following behind the little guys happily. But just when Yi Shi and the others opened the door happily, they suddenly found that the person standing outside the door was a strange sister. The person who came was none other than Long Shi, who had come all the way to this manor exhausted. She had just knocked on the door carefully, and was feeling extremely nervous standing outside the door. But when she saw this group of children, she was stunned. Sister, what can I do for you? When the little guys saw that it wasn't Long Ling, they couldn't help but feel a little disappointed, but they still greeted him politely. This. But Long Shi was confused. He picked up his phone and confirmed the address again and again. However, no matter how he looked at it, there was only this one manor around. But what about these children? Could it be that Master's retirement life was too boring, so he opened a private nursery? Come in, are you back from Antarctica? But just when Long Shi was confused, Yi Xian also came out and saw Long Shi with a confused look on his face. Master? Seeing Yi Xian, Long Shi's mind became even more confused. She looked at the children in front of her and asked quickly. Master, who are these children? Why do you guys always react like this no matter who comes over? Yi Xian shook his head in a helpless manner and began to introduce. These little girls in front of you are my daughters. They are Yi Jing, Yi Xia, Yi Yun, Yi Zi, and Yi Shi. The other children are their classmates. They came to play at home today. Yes, that's it. Long Shi's head was buzzing and it was about to crash. He felt a little overwhelmed looking at these kids. Her master, who used to be as cold as an iceberg, not only looked at her with a smile, but also suddenly had these cute little daughters. Jingjing, you should entertain this sister Long Shi well. She can be considered as the senior sister of your sister Long Ling. Yi Xian smiled and gave some instructions to Yi Jing and the other girls. Yes. Sister Long Shi, please come in. Chapter 500 Penguin. The maids then knew Long Shi's identity. They enthusiastically pulled her in and sat her down, looking at her with excitement and confusion. Sister Long Shi. Why does our father have so many students? Sister. Where on earth did Sister Long Ling go? She was so mean this morning. She left without even saying goodbye to us. Hee hee, then Sister Long Shi, please don't leave. Stay and play with us, okay? We will definitely listen to you. Looking at these cute and pretty girls, and also because they are his master's daughters, Long Shi instantly felt a lot closer to them. Besides, these little girls were lovable, so I just played with them for a while. At first, she was a little reluctant, but as she played, she completely integrated into the game and became close friends. Afterwards, it was almost time, and because Yi Jing and several other girls' classmates had to go home, Yi Xian arranged for people to send them back one by one. While the girls were sending their friends off, Long Shi quickly took out his cell phone and sent a message to Long Ling to ask. Long Ling. You are going too far. You didn't even inform me of such a big thing earlier. I was not prepared at all. Do you know that when I opened the door just now, a group of children looked at me curiously? It made me feel like Master opened a nursery. Why didn't you tell me before that I not only have a wife, but also these little sisters? As Long Shi asked, he felt more and more uneasy. Although she had only spoken a few words to her master just now, she clearly felt that this master was very unfamiliar to her. Not only does he look very kind with his smile, but even his tone of voice is very gentle, as if he is always smiling. The master in her previous impression was stern and cold, but now he suddenly became as warm as the sun. She couldn't accept it at all. And the most important thing is, when did the master have a daughter? I didn't even know about it before. Not to mention, the girls are already so grown up. How on earth did they do it? Seeing Long Shi's complaints and inquiries, Long Ling on the other side chuckled and replied with a few words. Hey, senior sister. Calm down. I didn't tell you in detail before because I wanted to give you a surprise. You also know that although our previous master was very kind and caring to us, he was always cold and indifferent. But I tell you, you will feel the difference of master more and more in the future. This is something I cannot explain to you clearly with words. I remember when I left in the morning, master not only said many warm words to me before leaving, but also got up in the morning to see me off and prepared breakfast for me. Alas! I have to say, the current master is really too warm. You will slowly feel it in the future. This is too exaggerated. Looking at Long Ling's words, Longshire's mouth twitched. My goodness, master has really changed so much now. Afterwards, a few little girls sent their friends away and came back to Longshire, asking curiously. Sister Longshire, Dad said before that you came back from Antarctica? Is this true? Antarctica is so cold and so far away. Did Sister Longshire really go there? Sister Longshire, you are not lying to us, are you? Did you go there? Seeing the little guys looking incredulous, Longshire also found them cute and smiled. What? You don't believe it? As he spoke, Longshire took out his cell phone, opened the photo album, and found the photos of himself in Antarctica. Everything about the icebergs and snow above is incredibly real. In addition to the selfie of Longshire fully armed with winter clothes, there are also some photos of penguins. Wow! Really? My sister really came back from Antarctica. Sister Longshire is so amazing. Antarctica is very cold. These penguins are so cute. That little penguin is still eating fish. Now the little girls completely believed it. Looking at the photos one by one, they were immediately filled with admiration for Longshire. In addition to admiration, the little girls also began to yearn for the distant Antarctic and looked at Longshire with great interest. Sister Longshire, can you take us to Antarctica in the future? We haven't been there yet. Don't worry, sister. Dad bought us a lot of thick clothes. They are very warm to wear. Sister Longshire, you are so pretty and beautiful. So you will definitely agree to us, right? Thinking of the ice and snow, the place completely covered by ice and snow, the children did not feel cold, but simply thought it was very interesting. Okay. Sister promises you. Longshire smiled charmingly. Seeing that these little guys were not only cute but also good at talking, she agreed without even thinking. Great. We can go to Antarctica. Let's go and ask Mom and Dad to get ready. Seeing that Longshire agreed immediately, the maids became extremely excited and shouted that they were going to tell Yi Xian. Wait. My dear sisters. Why are you so anxious? Seeing this, Longshire became anxious and quickly stopped the little girls, looking at them with a feeling of not knowing whether to laugh or cry. If my master knew that I had just arrived and was planning to abduct those little girls to Antarctica, he would not know how to deal with me. What's wrong, Sister Longshire, can't we set off now? Several girls blinked their innocent big eyes and looked at Longshire. Longshire was slightly stunned and explained with a wry smile. Oh, you are too impatient. Although we can go to Antarctica, we will definitely have to wait for a while. Just be good and be patient. If you continue to behave like this, I won't take you with me. Ah. Sister Longshire, we were wrong. The little girls were no longer willing to do this and threw themselves into Longshire's arms, raising their heads aggressively, indicating that they would be obedient. Isn't that right? You just need to wait patiently. Yes, okay, Sister Longshire, you were so nice to us. Although we can't go recently, which makes the girls a little disappointed, we are still looking forward to it. After a while, Yi Xian had packed up everything and came over to ask Longshire about the situation in Antarctica. Longshire, is the situation over there okay now? Have you encountered any difficult problems? Fortunately, Master, the tribes or other forces over there have also surrendered. It's a little troublesome, but it's not a big problem. Chapter 501. Don't worry. Don't worry, the follow-up work is now proceeding in an orderly manner. I just saw that there was nothing else to do, so I slipped back over there. Longshire briefly reported the situation, and judging from his relaxed expression, things were going well. Well, that's good. Since we're here this time, let's play for a while longer before leaving. Yi Xian smiled and nodded, then said another sentence. Okay, Master. Longshire was stunned when he saw this. Indeed, he could see the changes in his master from his gestures and words. Master, before I came here, I really didn't expect that you would. As he spoke, Longshore looked at the little girls beside him. They still hadn't fully accepted this reality. Alas, it really came too fast. Yi Xian nodded, somewhat helplessly, and then continued. How about this, the girls have a day off tomorrow, so you can take them out to play. As soon as Yi Xian finished speaking, before Longshore could answer, several little girls cheered excitedly and curled up around Longshore affectionately. That's great. Sister Longshore will take us out to play as soon as she comes back. Dad, Sister Longshore is a very nice person. We will definitely have a lot of fun. Hee hee. Although Sister Longling left, fortunately Sister Longshore is here. This time, Longshore was a little caught off guard, and looked at Yi Xian with embarrassment. Master, can I take good care of these girls? Don't worry, they are all very obedient. Yi Xian smiled and winked at the girls. Yes, Sister Longshore, we will listen to you in everything outside. The little girls were also smart and followed Longshore to make assurances, which made Longshore feel much more relieved. Judging from my interactions with the little girls, they are indeed quite well behaved. When it was time to go to bed at night, Wang Xinyo had cleaned up the room for Longshore in advance and changed the bedding into clean, new ones. Longshore, this is your room from now on. If you need anything, just tell me. We are all family, so don't be polite. Wang Xinyo enthusiastically took Longshore to the room to have a look. It was spotlessly clean and had many daily necessities prepared. The overall look was very warm. Yes, thank you, Master's wife. This is good enough. Looking at Wang Xinyao's careful preparations, Longshore was deeply moved and quickly thanked Wang Xinyo. It's okay. I'm glad you came over. We're not strangers. From now on, I'll have someone to talk to. We can also go shopping while the kids are in class. Then I won't bother you now. You must be very tired after traveling all the way here today. Go to bed early. Wang Xinyo is also very close to Longshore. Firstly, she is Long Ling's senior sister, and secondly, she is also Yi Xian's student. Yes, okay, Master's wife. Then you should also go to bed early. After exchanging a few pleasantries, the two went back to their rooms to rest. Longshore lay on the spacious and comfortable big bed, but she tossed and turned and couldn't fall asleep. There was no way. Even what happened tonight was enough for her to digest for a while. At first I thought Long Ling was exaggerating, but now it seems. Longshore muttered to himself, recalling his previous master and current master, and couldn't help but sigh deeply. The next morning, Longshore got up very early. Seeing that everyone was still asleep, she spontaneously went to the kitchen to prepare breakfast. After she had been busy for a while, she finally prepared breakfast for the whole family. Yi Xian, Wang Xinyao, and the maids also got up. Is it Sister Longshore who makes breakfast today? Hee hee, Sister Longshore is much more diligent than Sister Longling. Sister Longling rarely cooks. Actually, I think this is probably because Sister Longling herself can't eat what she made. These little guys were talking about breakfast at the moment, and they didn't forget to mention Longling. After all, the food Longling made left a very deep impression on them. You guys, you were talking about your sister Longling before, but now you're saying bad things about her? Yi Xian and others were also amused by the innocent words of the little girls, and Longshore was also laughing secretly on the side. Dad, we are just telling the truth. The food that Sister Longling cooked is not tasty to begin with. But the girls were not convinced and didn't think there was anything wrong with what they said. After mumbling a few words, they quickly moved to the dining table. Wow! Sister Longshore's cooking skills look great. It must be delicious. I can't wait to try it. Mom and Dad, come try it too. Then let's get started. Looking at the dazzling array of sumptuous breakfasts on the table, the little ones were drooling and their appetites were whetted. They couldn't wait to taste them. How is it? Is it delicious? While eating, Longshore also asked the girls how they felt, thinking that this would definitely make them very satisfied. After all, she was quite confident in her cooking skills. When Long Ling lived with her before, she always cooked for herself. It's delicious. Sister Longshore is great, it's really delicious. Hee hee, it's still not as delicious as what Dad makes, but it's pretty good. Listening to the girls' comments, Longshore was still smiling at first, but when she heard the latter part, her smile froze instantly. Masters. Of course, this was not because the girl said that what they cooked was not as good as what Yi Xian cooked, but because she didn't know that her master could actually cook. I had lived with my master for a long time before, but I had never seen him do this. And from what the maid said, the food cooked by the master is absolutely first class, and I can't compare with it at all. It seems that master has really changed a lot since having a child. Now even I feel a little strange about him. After dinner, Longshore dressed the children as agreed last night and went out to play. Tang Hao drove them out and they soon arrived in the city and got off in front of a shopping mall. Goodbye, Uncle Tang Hao. We'll call you when we come back. The girls got out of the car, waved goodbye to Tang Hao obediently, and then held Longshore's hand and skipped towards the front. Sister Longshore, where should we go first? Should we go shopping in the mall, or find some other place to play? Well, of course it's up to you. Wherever you want to go, I'll take you there. Chapter 502. Don't worry. Longshore smiled and thought that these girls were really obedient, so she gave them the right to choose. Then let's go shopping in the supermarket. We haven't been to a supermarket for a long time. The little girls discussed for a while and decided to go shopping in the supermarket first. Although they didn't know what to buy, they just thought the dazzling array of things in the supermarket was very interesting. Okay. Then let's go to the supermarket over there. Longshore nodded and happened to see a large chain supermarket on this side of the shopping mall. Then she led the children towards the supermarket entrance and met many passers-by, but they were all attracted by Longshore and the girls. This is so cute. Whose little angel has come down to earth? Wow! They are quintuplets, and they are all so beautiful. We are so lucky. Sure enough, these beautiful and cute children are all from other people's families. Passers-by were instantly attracted by the cuteness and beauty of Yi Jing and the other little girls. Just one glance made them feel like their hearts were melted by their cuteness. Is this how you usually go out? Longshore looked at the reactions of passers-by and asked the little girls. This was the first time she experienced such a high rate of turning heads. Yes, Sister Longshore, I don't know why these uncles, aunts, brothers, and sisters all seem to like us very much. Many of them even wanted to take photos with us. This. Longshore's eyelids twitched as he listened, thinking this was too invincible. Sure enough, in front of cuteness, everything else is not worth mentioning. These little girls are really amazing. Judging from the reactions of the passers-by just now, they are simply born darlings. But after she thought about it for a moment, she didn't think it was so strange. After all, her master and mistress were both extremely beautiful. Besides, these little girls are quintuplets, which attracts the attention of passers-by. If they were to play a child star, it will be popular all over China, or even the whole world. Thinking of this, Longshore's thoughts instantly came out. Sister Longshore, what were you talking about just now? Is there a fire somewhere? When they heard Longshore muttering to himself just now, several little guys looked over in confusion. Nothing, I was just distracted. Longshore finally came back to her senses from her reverie, smiled awkwardly, and continued walking towards the supermarket with the children. After a while, they took the elevator to a large chain supermarket on the basement floor. The girls walked in front holding hands, and Longshore helped them push the shopping cart behind. Just take whatever you want, I'll buy it for you. When bringing the children out, Longshore was quite generous and let the children choose for themselves. Yeah, thank you, Sister Longshore. The girls nodded happily and picked out goods in the supermarket as they pleased. But they were indeed very sensible. Even though Longshore asked them to choose freely, they did not act recklessly and just picked out some things that they could use. Longshore followed them with a smile, watching them slowly choose, and suddenly she felt a sense of leisure and happiness. Feeling the change in his mood, Longshore couldn't help but sigh, and also thought of his master Yi Xian. Perhaps it is because of the arrival of these cute little guys that the iceberg has melted, giving rise to the spring flowers of today. Of course, she was also happier to see Master's current appearance, a master whose smile could make people feel warm. Although it feels quite abrupt most of the time, it's not a bad thing. At least from her eyes, Master is happy now and not as lonely as before. Just as Longshore was daydreaming, the little ones were strolling around and came to the milk powder section of the supermarket, and they all stopped. When they saw these various kinds of milk powder, the first thing they thought of was the unborn babies in their mothers' bellies. As the eldest sister, Yi Jing looked at the milk powder and spoke seriously to her younger sisters. Our mother is about to give birth to a baby. I will be a big sister then. I need to prepare some food for her in advance. Otherwise, it would be very pitiful for the baby to have nothing to eat after it is born. How about we pool our pocket money together and buy milk powder for our brother or sister first? Yi Jing thought about using their own pocket money to buy milk powder for their unborn brothers and sisters, and discussed it with her sisters. Sister Yi Jing is right. Xiao Shi will be a sister in the future, but there are so many milk powders here. What should we choose? It's indeed a lot. I don't know if my baby will like to eat it when I buy it back. Ah! I seem to have forgotten what kind of milk powder we were eating before. I should have asked Mom before. Although the younger sisters also thought so, they didn't know how to choose from the shelves filled with milk powder. Just then, a salesperson came over and saw these cute little girls whispering while looking at the milk powder, and asked curiously, "My little cuties, what do you need? There are no snacks here." "Sister, we are here to buy milk powder. Do you know which kind of milk powder tastes good?" The saleswoman was stumped by the questions of these girls, but these milk powders were all of different types and she herself had never drunk them. Besides, she is only in her 20s and doesn't have any children of her own, so she knows nothing about these milk powders. But why are you here to buy milk powder? You probably don't drink this stuff anymore, right?" "That's right, sister. We bought this for our unborn brother or sister, but we don't know which one he will like." Yi Jing told the salesperson everything and pointed to a brand of milk powder that had pretty good packaging and asked, "Sister, have you tried this? Is it delicious? The packaging looks so pretty." Faced with Yi Jing's question, the salesperson stood there in a daze for a long time, not knowing how to answer. She had never expected that the questions from these little guys would be so shocking. "But I really don't know, why don't you go ask Mom and Dad?" The salesperson wiped his sweat off his forehead, smiled and shook his head, thinking, isn't it the kids who should be worrying about such things? Chapter 503, A Few Circles. But it's also really enviable. Their parents are so lucky. Not only do they have these cute little girls, but now they're pregnant with a baby. And a family that can raise children in this way must be either rich or noble. "Sister, actually, we want to give the baby a surprise, so we can't tell Mom and Dad." She said a little embarrassedly, and the other little girls also nodded. "Is that so? You guys are so cute." The salesperson covered her mouth and was becoming more and more fond of the little girls. The baby hasn't even been born yet, but they already have the awareness of becoming a big sister. "Why are you girls here?" Just at this moment, Longshore hurried over pushing a shopping cart, and was relieved when she saw the girls. Just now, she wasn't paying attention and a few little guys came here. She had been looking for them at the snack bar for a long time. "No, why are you here to buy milk powder? This is not what you should drink at your age, right?" "Sister Long Ling, this is not what we want to drink, it's what the baby wants to drink." "Little baby? What little baby?" Longshore blinked, her mind working rapidly. From last night till now, she hadn't seen any other children in the villa? "We almost forgot, Sister Longshore doesn't know yet." The girls then realized that they had not yet told Longshore that their mother was pregnant, so they told him the truth. "Ah. No wonder you've been wandering around here for so long." Longshore nodded in sudden realization. She never expected that the master's wife was still pregnant. It seems that Master's job now has become being a wholehearted super dad. These few girls are not enough, and there will be another one soon. But for now, Longshore had no choice but to put this matter aside and squatted down to comfort the little girls. "Okay, sister knows what you are thinking, but it is too early to buy these milk powders now. Your parents will buy them when the time comes. And think about it, if you buy it now, by the time your baby is born, the milk powder may not be fresh anymore. Would you still dare to feed it to your baby? Just go buy the things you like today. We'll talk about the baby's things later, okay?" The girls nodded obediently when they heard that the milk powder might become stale, and they gave up the idea. "Then we should listen to Sister Longshore and not feed the baby stale milk powder." "Yes, that's what a good kid should be. Go buy your snacks." "Aha!" Afterwards, the girls stopped thinking about the milk powder and wandered over to the snack area, picking out their favorite snacks. Soon, the shopping cart was filled with a lot of snacks that the girls liked, and they happily followed Longshore to line up to pay. Afterwards, the children came out of the supermarket carrying shopping bags and followed Longshore obediently. Just when they were about to go somewhere else for a walk, they suddenly discovered a blue billboard standing nearby. Yi Xia took a curious look at the billboard, but suddenly stopped and shouted to the other girls in surprise. "Look! There's an Ocean World exhibit in here." "Huh? What exhibition?" "Wow! It says there's an Ocean World exhibit in this mall. It's right in the center of the basement level too. Sister Longshore, shall we go take a look? It must be a very interesting place. The other little girls also saw it. It was clearly written that a central column-type ocean world exhibition was recently built on the second floor below ground in this shopping mall. Okay, let's go. Seeing that the children were very interested, Longshore agreed without thinking and took them into the mall. When we reached the central location on the second underground floor, quite a few children had already gathered there, admiring a huge glass column in the center. Inside was a scene simulating the marine ecology. Not only was it filled with seawater, but it was also laid out according to the real ocean. There are also various fish and other creatures in the sea swimming happily in it, including clownfish, flounder, and even eels and small sharks. An ocean exhibition like this is a scenic spot built by the shopping mall to increase its popularity, and the effect is outstanding. As long as this shopping mall is open, you can always see a lot of children gathering here, and there are also some adults among them. A few little girls walked over with full of curiosity, and were instantly attracted to the glass, with their eyes almost glued to the glass. Wow! This is simply a small ocean world. So interesting. So this is actually possible. Sister Longshore, look, there's a little shark inside. What kind of shark is this? It doesn't look like it would eat small fish. It looks like it has a good temper. The thing that attracted the girls' attention the most was the little shark. It swam slowly like that, and didn't look as ferocious as